Greetings, fellow humanoids, and welcome back to the Versal Plane, home to all manner of magical mayhem. God. This
Where the arcane
evening's...
meets the mundane.
That's right.
Correct.
I like it. My linguist brain is taking that places. Arcane.
Is it percolating?
Mundane. Yes.
What do I have? Because I have something else. Where arcane collides with anarchy and pandemonium prevails.
Ooh.
I love it. I love it.
You should love it. You're the one who said it.
I did?
Yes. A while ago, actually.
You know what I do? I just throw words. I literally throw words into the world and then forget them.
I literally
that
went
was
through
amazing.
I went through the Discord.
That.
I went through the Discord about it. Your comment on the matter and copied and pasted it for my Nightbot.
That is hilariously amazing. What did I say? I had a video saying something about my imagination. So it was something ridiculous political where I was like, I can't imagine this, and then I sort of reverse engineered it, where the opening was as a creator of word, as a something of words and of worlds, as a writer of words and of worlds. I am burdened with some sort of crazy imagination, and yet despite that, not even I can imagine whatever the fuck. But it was something about words and of worlds. It worked better on paper.
I also love the reaction from people on TikTok when you start swearing, as if it's not something that you just casually do in every other setting, but because you're so eloquent and articulate with your specific choice of wording, you don't come across as a vulgar person.
Yeah.
And then we're here in D&D, in the magical world of D&D, and it's completely different.
So then that's a conversation. Me and Emmett had this conversation in terms of what would the people in the world of D&D consider fantastical beings, right? Like in our unicorns or dragons or Pegasus fantasy creatures, because they don't exist in this world. But they are generally combinations of creatures that do exist, because a dragon is like essentially like a bat lizard, and a Pegasus is a horse hawk. So then we were like, okay, in a world where dragons and unicorns and Pegasus actually exist in the world, in the same way that just like a horse would exist in the real world, what would be a fantastical creature that doesn't exist? Platypus, aardvark, penguin, possibly. But yeah, we were thinking about that. So I don't remember where this was going. Oh,
I feel like a seahorse.
Yeah. But in terms of language, in the D&D world, are words that are curse words here, not curse words there?
No, it depends. Does Christianity exist in your fantasy world? Because that is no, not that. It's actually the Christian church that decided, because of nobility and the Christian church, that decided what vulgar language was. Because a lot of what we consider vulgar language now was common practice in medieval times.
Yeah. Well, that's the word. I actually did a little bit of a deep dive on, specifically because I was trying to figure out, after I had that crazy video, what to call that. Because I was like, is it obscenity? Is it profanity? Or is it vulgarity? And I was like, well, where do those come from? So vulgarity literally just referred to the common tongue, as opposed to the tongue of the nobility. Obscenity is things that are like gross, and then profanity is specifically theological, because profane means before the temple. So profanity is stuff that has theological implications. Obscenity, so many of our curse words come from scatological things. They're either sex or shit.
Shit.
Yeah.
Crap.
Shit and fuck, right? Like
ass.
Yeah. See you next Tuesday is a bad word because it's related to something sexual. Shit is scatological. Piss. Yeah.
Now, did you know that the origin of I'm wondering how much I can get away with because we're early on Twitch.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, it's only 9:30.
The other word for a female lady part.
Labium.
No, the one that starts with P. That word's origin can be traced back to a much larger word that refers to someone who is yellow belly or cowardly, pusillanimous. However, it has never once been never once has it ever referenced that in the actual use. One doctor or one not doctor, one what is it when someone talks about the things that do and don't exist?
Me?
Like no,
writer?
Not that. No, the people that like a tree falls and no one's around to hear it. Those people.
Philosophers.
Philosophers, thank you. I don't know why I couldn't think of the word. There was a philosopher in the 1700s that decided that specific word was now going to associate with this other word. And that is the first usage of the connection between the two. And still no one has ever actually thought that.
That's amazing. That's amazing. When you said the one that starts with a P, I almost went quim. Just because I
didn't know what that word meant for a long time. So when Loki was like, you mean... I was like, oh, fuck!
Yeah, right, dude. Fucking Avengers got away with some shit. That's the beauty of cursing in other language. Yeah.
That's it. If you say a word that's obscure enough, people have to go look it up, and then they see just how vulgar you are. Like, nobody should ever know what felching means. I do.
Nobody should know what Blumpkin is.
Oh, no. Yeah.
So...
Ooh, actually, now that I said that out loud, I actually am going to save that for the next time I want to insult MAGA.
Supernatural got away with a fuck in their show.
My wife just actually opened the office door to shake her head at me. Hi, baby, love you. There's a cat sneaking. Come here.
So
now, real quick, about looking up words and things that mean something other than what you think. What do you think a mountain chicken is?
What do you think a mountain chicken is?
The
look I
ptarmigan?
just got. We're on
ptarmigan?
Twitch. We're on Twitch, so it can't quite be that bad. Can it?
Do you know what Rocky Mountain oysters are?
Yeah. Do you? So what do you think a mountain chicken is?
A ptarmigan.
I don't know what that is personally.
It's a bird.
It's a mountain chicken.
No. So the first thing that comes to mind is a bird, right?
Yep.
I would say vulture.
Hang on.
I'm probably wrong.
I'm gonna grab an image, so give me a sec.
Oh, the tail is swishy swishy.
Do you know what Rocky Mountain oysters are?
Yes. They're actually pretty good. They're very salty.
Cap, is that an actual yes or no?
It was a no, and then the wife informed me, so now it is no longer a no.
Ah, good.
So
good.
You think of a bird when you think of mountain chicken. That's what it is.
Oh, it's like a titmouse that is neither a boob nor a mouse.
Yep.
Or a bird.
For those in chat, those in Twitch who can't see it, a mountain chicken is a frog.
It's a frog.
It's gonna be blurry.
On that note,
mountain chicken.
So Rocky Mountain oysters. There's got to be some version of that involves the word grundle.
The gooch.
The grundle gooch. The grundle bundle.
The grundle bundle.
Anyway, Supernatural.
See, I like to refer to it as later
seasons. Supernatural had an episode where they introduced a deaf character, and Sam is interviewing her, thinking that she is a maid in an old folks' home, asking if she had seen anything suspicious. She informs him that she is deaf. So he writes on a little page, what he's asking. And when he's done, he goes, "Thank you." And she laughs and goes, "It's thank you." So they literally got him to say "fuck you" in sign language on TV. and the thing is, I didn't catch it. I didn't catch it because at the time that episode came out, I was learning sign language. And it wasn't until a year later when I was driving in my car thinking fondly about that episode that I realized what he did.
So my two that I like on sign language is a very PC one. It's calling someone an idiot. It is the opposite sign for smart.
Makes sense.
So smart is you have a book, you take the knowledge from the book, and you put it in your head. Idiot, you take it from your head, you put it in the book.
Yep, that checks out.
I like bitch.
I was gonna say there was.
I can't remember.
There's
a sign for cow, and if you move it past if you move cow from in front of your face, it refers to milk because it's pasteurized.
That is a joke, but yes, it's a joke.
But it's true.
But it's amazing.
Milk is this. But it is a joke version. But this is bullshit.
Yeah. Yep.
Yep.
That's shithead.
Yep.
You guys almost certainly already know this. There's at least one person on TikTok who most of their videos are teaching people how to sign vulgarities. And I remember one of them was bald-headed hoe or bald-headed bitch or something like that. And I can't remember what the sign was, but I remember that there was somebody who taught the internet how to sign that phrase.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Great.
My favorite thing is talking about the directionality and like movement of a sign can change it. Because this is cookie. This is coffee. I think computer. Like it's just where you put it and how you move your hand changes what it is. Christmas tree.
So could you sign for me real
Credit
quick?
Card.
Could you sign for me real quick then? My coffee and cookie are near my computer.
Oh my god, no.
Now we do have a purpose of this stream, by the way.
Wait,
yes,
what?
but I want to tell you one more amazing thing.
I know.
There are signs that are regional, just like there are dialects. So specific people and places have signs that are very specific. Like Montana is an M, and like that's. But my favorite one is this means snooty or stuck up. And the sign for Bellevue, Washington is the letter B.
That's amazing.
Doing that.
So what I'm hearing is, and I know what is the term for like non-deaf people in the deaf community?
Okay. Hearing?
Is it just hearing?
So you would probably be like, do you mean like the child of a deaf person? Or
I'm thinking in terms of like if I were given a sign name, I don't get to choose it as a person who is not of the community. I don't get to choose it. I get it given to me by the community. So like if I were given that, it would be me, like in the LGBTQ community, I'm the breeder. Like that's, so like that, but for the deaf community.
You're the
you're hearing. You're hearing. So this is hearing because it's like speaking, hearing, deaf. And so yes, a deaf person or a hard of hearing person is the only person who can give you a sign name. They can also give you multiple. Like Meg has had her name changed multiple times.
Yeah. So what
I think it is currently now.
If I remember correctly,
the
even
M
those
going Shakespeare.
That's what she said.
If I remember correctly, even those who are deaf and hard of hearing. It's my little brother's hard of hearing, and I'm reaching that point myself where I almost cannot hear out of one ear. They also don't pick their own nickname, their own name. It's also like you do not get your own nickname like in most reality. You don't get your own nickname.
Right.
Yeah.
If I may, however, submit an application, I would if it is possible, I would like my sign name to include Snooty Asshole. I am a smug, pretentious. I would not mind if Snooty were part of my sign name.
Yours would be like Smarty Pants or something.
Snooty
or like
McBoot
an A.
or something. A.
But there is actually a term for a child of a deaf adult.
Coda,
which
right?
is coda.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Coda is the term that usually those individuals will use.
So what happens when they name their if they have a son and they name them Coda?
Cody.
Depends on if that child is deaf or not. So that's about to get real confusing.
That's along the lines of naming your dog Doug.
Well, and a coda is also like an epigram. It's a piece of writing at the end of a piece of writing. It's not like an afterword in a book, but it's like a tag at the end of a book. And it's spelled the same way, CODA.
Yeah, because it's an acronym, Child of Hearing Adult.
Now, as for our game of Grimm's Gathering, which we are not gathering for today.
We're ungathered.
We're scrambled.
We're unhinged.
Yeah.
Always unhinged.
Unglued. Unfinity. No, wait, that's Magic the Gathering.
Unpredictable.
Yes. Unbalanced, untethered, uncontrollable.
Unimaginable.
It's
unfathomable.
Unfathomable.
Without fathom.
We're fathomless. We're unfinite.
Unfinite.
Unfinite. Itty tiny.
Infinite cosmic powers.
I don't know if it's my Discord messing up, but I cannot hear everything that's being said.
I got real high pitched there.
No, I heard what you said. I think it's your Discord being weird. Because you also said that my Discord video looks like a CCTV camera, so...
No, I said mine did.
Oh, yours did. It did not to me. Like, it was not coming through my side as that, so... Difficult technicalies!
Yeah.
Mine looks like a grown-ass man with toys.
I have drain bramage.
You too? Your drain is also bramaged?
Yes. So I want, before we get into the plans for the rest of the game or recapping properly what it was, I want to know your thoughts on how the game has gone so far.
I'm very intrigued.
Chaotically. Chaotically, but I feel like the chaos, see, like a lot of D&D games, I won't say devolve into that chaos, but like there's that through line of the chaos. And I have theories on this. Me and him had made a note to talk about this on a podcast. The friction between a player and the character they're playing. Because there's those moments where you're like, I as the player want to do this, but I really do feel like the character would do this. And so there's that little bit of friction. And so I feel like the friction between player and character is actually where a lot of the chaos in your general D&D game comes from. Because as sort of introverted weirdos, our response to awkwardness is to be funny. And so I think the funniness that is comes from those awkward moments where we're like, there's something serious happening, but I'm the player and like I have this like extra dimensional awareness of the story. And so we turn it into a funny thing. But with the Grimm's Gathering, the idea that it's in this like Oz / Wonderland / Wonka universe, the chaos is
where everything is dark and demented.
Right. Yeah. The chaos is sort of ingrained into the tapestry of that world. So the chaos makes sense in universe as well as out here for us weirdos.
I think part of it too, and this sounds very self-centered, I guess, is the group of people that you have put together We are just chaos incarnate. Like,
yeah.
Which, a little spoiler for those listening in, we're getting an edition next week. Yes. So the chaos group will become even more chaotic.
Oh God.
We've gone from gremlins to goblins.
I am not prepared for the level. I am
We've
not prepared
gone from
for the energy we're about to.
We've gone from the Mogwai to the gremlins.
The only way it could get even more chaotic is if, for the finale, you bring in to play the BBEG, Archaeowolf.
Oh God. No, what we have that would be a 5 alarm chaos. I don't know if you can do the impression
correctly.
That's fair.
The BBEG has a very specific impression.
Gotcha. Yeah. What about unbridled
we're
chaos?
We're gonna get a 4 alarm chaos factor.
Oh yeah. Yep.
But okay. The day that we're able to actually pull off a serious game, that will be a feat in and of itself.
Yeah.
Like, we will have to actively police ourselves to do that, and it's so ridiculous.
I feel like if I hadn't said that this was a Willy Wonka fantasy-esque turned Grimm campaign where you have to take fairy tale characters there and just went full grimdark, it might have like reduced the amount of chaos. Because you have to be serious in a true grimdark campaign because there's no other choices.
Yeah. I was gonna say
I went, I'm making your lollipop taste like worms. I still gave you a lollipop.
Right. Yeah. I feel like to do that, you've got to, like, session 0, you say we're going grimdark, but then like you have to set that tone from the gate. Like, you've got to start that with a horrific scene. And
were the dwarves not horrifying enough?
No, they weren't.
Fair.
But again, it depends on your players, because I feel like what might be horrifying to some people actually wouldn't be horrifying to our special guest who's coming in. There are things that player will do, and you can put that player through that would horrify other people, and that player just be like, "Here we go."
I'm gonna lock that player
in
a room. There are
things that player has said to me, stories that he's told me of his real life, that he's like laughing, and I'm like,
I'm gonna have that player show up riding down a rainbow on a pink fluffy unicorn.
You know.
Deadpool?
Hell, I might do that. I still might do that. Like in this gray, dark, dismal world, all you see is this rainbow go pew, knock out some, like hit a vampire and knock them off their feet.
That's what you do.
And then just pouncing down.
So that's actually a thing Dustin did. Not quite exactly that, but the way he brought Jinma's character back to Mountain of Mystery. We didn't realize this, so we actually fucked up his original encounter. It was the encounter with the lion drake, and we were outnumbered and like overpowered. And the solution to that was, and Dustin knew it, and Jinma knew it, was that Jinma's character was going to surprise reappear as the backup. But because we didn't know it, we like escaped. We pulled some like crazy shit.
A plan.
Yeah, we concocted a plan that worked, unfortunately. And so we're fleeing, and Dustin's like, fuck, what do I do? So he had the lion drake chase us, and then had Jinma's character essentially comet and crash through the wing of the lion drake. And so that's what you do then, is essentially you put us up against an enemy we can't possibly beat, because you know that you're going to bring in the fucking comet.
Backup.
Yeah.
The crazy thing about that is that Jinma had been gone for some personal reasons for like 4 months or some shit like that. It was a long time.
It was a while.
And not only was he gone for personal things, he was not available to talk to.
Right.
Like, he was not online. He didn't have Discord on his phone. Like, he was MIA. Like, we knew he was okay, but like he was not contactable.
Mm-hmm.
So we were all just like, I wonder when Jinma's gonna come back, and like I was like all worried about him because like I worry about my friends. The night before this shit happens, I had a prophetic dream that we were playing D&D and Jinma's character popped up and reappeared as like, surprise, I'm back, and like Jinma joined the call and like rejoined us. And then that was that morning, like into that morning, and then that game happened, and I lost my shit when he joined. I was like, "What the fuck, voodoo dream shit did I summon?"
Did you lose your shit the same way you lost your shit when Fox popped up from Popo?
Yeah, pretty much.
I did.
Yeah, borderline.
That was so funny. I swear, I was like staring at his face. I was like, "How is he doing this? Is he a ventriloquist? What the fuck is happening?"
Yeah.
It wasn't until he turned his phone and was like looking at somebody off screen. I was like, okay, there's another person there. Who the fuck is this?
I thought he had somebody else up on his, like, I thought he had essentially somebody zoomed in or like Discorded in on his computer. And that's what we were hearing, the audio coming out of his computer.
Oh, it was all in person. It was great. I knew about it ahead of time because it was I needed to know, and I was told to act like nothing happened. Act like I can't hear that voice.
Yeah,
amazing. No, it was fantastic. But I will
say, as far as my campaign and my DM style goes, I am very much a hand of God is real and will show up out of nowhere. So if the hand of God drops a friend down, that happens. If the hand of God in my home campaign literally came out, I'm like, I misbalanced this encounter one moment, and the hand of God reached in, pulled bullywug frogs off the battlefield. Quite literally described as one of them gets grabbed by the leg and is squirming and flailing for his life as it gets pulled into the heavens. Come with me, my child, sort of thing.
I have been chosen.
I can just hear the music from the Holy Grail.
It's that TikTok meme of "Come with me, my John." Ah, no, let me go. Let me.
Yep. Amazing.
And I am happy doing things like that where it makes no sense in our world, but that's because it doesn't have to.
Yeah.
The genre is called fantasy. It's meant to be unrealistic.
Yep. Yeah.
My favorite line from Epic Rap Battles. J.R.R. Tolkien versus J.R.R. Martin, or as I prefer to call him, Gur Martin.
Yeah.
Is the it's common in life for people to die tragically. But last I checked, the genre is fantasy. It's meant to be unrealistic. You myopic manatee.
Amazing. That's inspiring. That brings me back to Rappers at Sunset. I feel like, but see, that's the thing. Nerdcore is a whole genre.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm this close to my calling. Like Rappers at Sunset, I finally did, like, I peeked through the fence and I was like, oh, that's been here the whole time.
Yep. I need you to know, I recently, because you said Bardcore.
No, Nerdcore.
Or Nerdcore. I recently discovered Bardcore was a thing.
Yep.
And one of the people that I love from it, their name is Hildegard von Blingen. And she's awesome. I straight up played her music at work the other day. I just had Bard Tavern Pop songs playing.
So it's funny you guys mentioned Nerdcore and Bardcore. I love Spotify. I have Spotify Premium. I use Spotify all the time. I have about 30-something playlists. I have a Nerdcore playlist, and I have a Bardcore playlist. My Nerdcore playlist is primarily rappers about people who rap about video games or anime.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
So I do enjoy those. Rustage is the person that actually got me into like the anime rap stuff that exists, and he has some great ones. My preferred, if you really like Bardcore, Stand Tough is probably the best Bardcore band I've found.
Stand Tough.
Stand Tough. Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
So STANTOUGH.
Okay.
They have they are quite literally take your favorite pop song. It's now like you're walking through a Renaissance fair.
And it's funny because
I usually
good.
I usually play it for background tavern music, and I've had a player turn around and go, "Is that Hips Don't Lie?"
Well, and I just realized, I just had an epiphany. that's what Weird Al Yankovic essentially was. He was like not quite nerdcore. He was like nerd polka, but like he was a little bit of a precursor. And see, the first time I ever heard of nerdcore, like as an actual thing, was on King of the Nerds, which was a competition game show. I think it was on TBS. It only ran for 3 seasons, but they in their first season they had a nerdcore rap battle essentially, and that was the first I ever heard of it. I was like, that's a, it's a thing. It's a thing.
Yeah. I mean,
I gotta say, just hearing Bardcore Gangster's Paradise,
it's good.
Cracks me up.
Yes.
My Bardcore playlist starts Hips Don't Lie, Barbie Girl, Mr. Brightside, Wonderwall, I Want It That Way, Gangster's Paradise, Lose Yourself, Sexy Back, X Gonna Give It To You, Beat It, Smooth Criminal, Counting Stars, Single Ladies. It goes on. I have 33 songs on this playlist.
I need to hear X Gonna Give It To You in Bardcore.
I will say, it makes sense for nerdcore to exist because at the end of, if you bring it back, it's just flights. It's just flighting.
Yeah.
And for those in chat who don't know what that means, a flight is a poetic battle,
right?
Between poets to literally, it was quite literally, take a rap battle, take the music away. That's a flight.
Yeah, which is why in the reverse, when people talk shit about rap, I'm like, rap is just poetry. Like, yes, no, rap is poetry to a beat. And that's not to say because people will be like, oh, you know, this song, you're saying that's poetry. And I'm like, yes, because a lot of poetry is shit. Just like a lot of rap is shit. A lot of poetry is also fucking garbage. So yes, rap is just poetry to a beat.
Well, that makes sense because rap is an acronym. That's not a joke. Rap is actually an acronym. It stands for rhythm and poetry.
I like it.
That is the etymology of that word.
I forgot that.
So, anyone saying rap isn't poetry, it's quite literally in the name.
It's in the. It's half of it.
It's a third.
It's literally, yeah. It's two. It's 0.2. It's 2 letters and an ampersand. No, it can't be an ampersand. It's like D&D. Yeah, you don't call D&D dad.
It's a word and. It's an article. But you don't call an article.
Yeah, but you don't call Dungeons and no, it's a conjunction. But you don't call Dungeons and Dragons dad.
Fair. I just think R and P is probably Ori was probably taken.
That's probably true. If you ever been to a poetry slam, have I been to a? I think I was at a poetry slam in college. You called the. I mean, there's that.
Please don't.
So yeah, so there, I feel like there's definitely like a very niche subgenre of nerdcore that is just DM core. It's nerdcore specifically from the point of view of a game runner, or sometimes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. No, you know what? You know what song I'm going to do?
My favorite.
I'm going to do a parody of. It's called Astroworld. It's the Travis Scott song Astroworld. I'm going to do a nerdcore version of it, specifically and only because there was a line in it that I caught by accident. It's something to do with loot, something to do with grab the loot. And obviously in the song it's LOOT, but I heard grab the loot in the midst of thinking about D&D, and I was like, this is a bard who's going to grab the loot. And I was like, I'm going to rewrite the entire song because of that one fucking phrase.
There's a song that I really enjoy by Emerald Rose called Never Split the Party.
Amazing. Amazing.
And it
guys, starts off
always.
It starts off preemptively of like the pre-session startup of like, has anybody seen my my D20? I swear if anybody took D20, where's my character sheet? I just had it. All right, whoever ate the last of the, it's quite literally everybody arguing with each other.
Oh, Eye of the Night, not to be confused with Dear Mommy, who got shot by a hunter before the rest of Bambi.
The only true villain in any Disney movie to kill someone.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway. I had a thought, now it's gone. That's okay. Here, I'll put that over there.
Nerdcore, Bardcore, it's all amazing. In fact, if you Stand Tough Bardcore is not copyright free, but claim free, so you can actually have them running in videos to upload to YouTube.
Okay. Oh, nice.
It'll let you know that it's been copyright, but it won't like strike your video.
Is it copy left? That's what Cory Doctorow called it. So
it's copy wrong.
Copy wrong. Well, no, yeah, copy left is actually a thing. I think Cory Doctorow.
Okay.
I don't know if he invented the idea, but it's essentially the idea that of making writing available to be used for for public use and not having it be copywritten. What's Stand Tough? There we go. Okay.
Yes.
There we go.
Also, if you want, I'm just gonna give a shout out because I love these guys. If you want good D&D music, OBP Musical.
All right.
They're an awesome group. The guy who does a lot of composing, his name is Cory Doctor. And Meg is the one who got us into his stuff, and he has actually composed music for some of the games that Meg has run for us. Nice. So he's on Spotify. They're on Spotify. He runs a lot of cool D&D story adventure things, and just has a whole bunch of really awesome music for tabletop.
Sorry, Teeny in the comments talking about how Gaston locked up Belle's dad was pretty villainy, and all I can think of is the parody that I heard, which was "Tale as old as time, older than that guy, Beauty and Maurice."
Yeah. Well, and then it has Maurice in the yellow ball gown.
Yeah. Yeah. So speaking of Gaston, to sort of bring it back around to Grimm's Gathering, my character originally was going to be a riff on Gaston as a Beastmaster Ranger, and that actually grew out of. It's still floating around in the ether. We may do it someday, but the Mountain of Mystery crew, several of them have created D&D versions of Disney characters. Jinma has a version of Kronk that is a druid barbarian with the chef's feet. Nimue's got Ariel as a sea elf. What was she? Swashbuckler rogue. Meg has Ursula as a fathomless warlock, I believe. Was that it?
Well, now I want to join that because I've got a Pinocchio that's a Warforged warlock.
That's nice. Amazing. Yeah. And so that whole thing came about because there's a DM on TikTok who basically said, pitch me your idea for a Disney character for essentially a Dungeons and Disney's campaign. And so I took Milo from Atlantis and I had him as a Battlesmith Artificer. I essentially just reskinned Leander, but I was like, he's a battlesmith, he's an artificer. And so that whole idea of translating Disney characters into D&D characters sort of emerged from that. Now they sort of beat us to that though, Disney officially, because there is a Disney book published by Hyperion called Mirrorverse. And it's this alternate universe version of several Disney characters who basically form an adventurers party and go fight evil and stuff like they do. That sentence really didn't go anywhere. Go ahead.
I really need you to cosplay a Professor Milo character. Because I'd love for you to cosplay Milo, but that would require you to shave your beard, and April and I agree that would be a travesty.
Yeah.
I mean, I also think that Cap could easily pull off a Professor Paradox. Which is an artist.
I think the entirety of TikTok
Professor
agrees.
Elemental. Sorry.
Oh, Elemental. Okay. I think the entirety of TikTok understands that me shaving my beard would be a travesty because I documented the last time I shaved my beard. It was a while ago, but there is a video where I have the beard and then I do that swipe thing, and I don't have it, and then I swipe back and I do have it because I recorded this shit. And I actually had people in the comments that were like, "Wait, did you shave or not?" And I'm like, "What do you mean? Did I shave or not? Like, no, I didn't just
maybe
magically
they thought
make
it was like a
like
maybe
my
they thought it
twin.
was like an app filter or something.
Maybe, or my twin brother popped into the driver's seat.
I can't use those filters because I have too much beard.
So they give you a weird chin.
It puts the rest of it down here.
It gives me the full Mog chin.
Yes.
You become the handsome Squidward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Ching.
I just had a thought and I just lost it. Damn it. That's how this game goes.
I'll put it on the shelf with my thought.
So I know you guys like the Grimm's Gathering, and it's becoming fun. It's becoming chaotic. What about the first session did you like, and what didn't you like? The first session with the dwarves and the boulettes.
Mm-hmm. I like fighting. I liked getting all 3 kills. Weirdly, I liked getting all 3 kills as much as I didn't like getting all 3 kills. And we've talked about why. I'll let him answer first.
No, I was gonna say you answer first.
What did I like?
Right
I liked. I mean,
big butts and I cannot lie.
Oh, you know I did that. I did a dramatic reading of that song, right? On TikTok.
I believe it.
Yeah.
You would.
Yeah, I don't even remember the name of there is a woman on TikTok. I won't even say I accidentally ended up on Hot Goth Mommy TikTok. Hot Goth Mommy TikTok found me, and one of her videos
There's no
said,
accident.
No, I built my FYP brick by brick, but one of her videos popped up and it said, if this video is on your FYP, it's because you like hot goth girls with big butts. I don't make the rules. And I was like, but miss, I like big butts, and I cannot lie. You other brothers can't deny that when a girl, and I literally did it as a dramatic reading of the first verse. I love the timey-wimey. I love the idea of this this hallway with
curious.
Because like my Doctor Who brain is kind of like my curiosity is piqued by that because I'm like, what is outside of that? Because then I start thinking about like where we are and how we ended up there because we don't remember how we ended up there. And so like trying to connect those pieces of like we're outside of time and space. Are we inside of a weird tunnel of time and space? And then what we've talked about with us going back to the spot we weren't really kind of technically supposed to go back to yet, and how that environment
out of game talking about that,
right? How that environment changed because we weren't supposed to be there. So in a way, all of those things are connected. That what I like the most is the way that the mechanics, where it would be not metagaming, but like the meta aspects of the game, are part of the story. Like the idea that like if the party, like if you're DMing and you've got a world where you've got a bunch of different encounters set up and you're like, this one is like a CR5 encounter, this one's a CR10, and the players are like, oh, we're going to go over here, and you're the DM, you're like, you're not, that's going to kill you. And so like but making that part of like you're not supposed to be there, so the world isn't right.
Yeah. And so for those in the chat here that don't know about what we're talking about necessarily, because I talked about it off stream. In session 1, when the players go back from after when they are going to go fight the boulettes, but decide to turn back before they can get to that point because they're ready to say, nah, fuck this mission.
Because we're indecisive fucks.
Right. They go back, though not everything in that area is mirrored. Everything seems wrong. Dwarves are all like being possessed and nothing is functioning correctly. And there's a voice that comes on kind of like a loudspeaker sort of style of, you're not supposed to be here. This part's not ready for you. Go back, go do the thing. And they're whisked away. And that is supposed to be a matter of, basically, it's like playing a video game where you're only allowed to run right and finding a way of jumping left back before back to a point in the game where you're not supposed to be, and you get into basically the dev room. You see where the standby NPCs are and everything. And Kat made a great reference that I should have thought of. I should have had one of the dwarves posing to lean into that. They're not real. They're AI-less NPCs at that moment. They're not ready to be used.
Yeah. And in a weird way, it's like it's essentially like we jailbroke a video game and hacked it and figured out how to go off map.
But with a live developer there going, you're not allowed to be here. Let's move you back to where you're supposed to be.
Right. Yeah.
Go play the game.
Yeah.
You'll unlock this area once you beat the next stage.
Right. Yeah. It's like go back to the areas that have been rendered.
Early access issues, yes.
Yeah.
And it's a combination of video games.
We didn't have the DLC yet.
It's a combination of video games and a storyteller where you're in a choose your own adventure and you open to the wrong page. You're not supposed to be on this page. This is a different story. Go back to where you're supposed to be. It said open page 7, you open page 23. You're wrong. Yeah. Go back.
It's like if you read a choose your own adventure novel like a normal novel. Like if you read it page by page, and it won't make any sense.
And that's why that section didn't make any sense. It felt like railroading. Right. It's because the author of that book sees you on the wrong page too early and has to rewrite the script. It's a movie. It's a movie. It's a book. It's a video game, and that's where these inspirations come from very heavily. And it's a musical too.
Yeah.
And that's where a lot of these inspirations come from heavily. And there is a being manipulating the scenes. There is a person behind the green curtain. Don't look, sort of situation.
Yeah. His name is Damian Murphy.
And I like explaining that to the player, to the players and everybody after game is over and outside of the session, because I don't want you to know, I don't want your character to know per se that they're in someone else's story.
Right. Yeah. And that sort of touches back on that idea of the friction between the player and the character, and sort of the imbalance of player knowledge versus character knowledge, and the idea. That's why I roll a lot for when I figure something out.
Would my character do this? Would my character know? Sort of thing.
Right. Yeah. Like when we got to the city.
Are you going to trust Chet?
No. Yeah, exactly. Because I'm like, and to be fair, as a player, I don't know how trustworthy that character is. But like when we got to the city, and Anthony, the player, fully like I know where we are. I know what's going on. I don't know what's going to happen, but I know where we are. Probably, I've got like a 95% chance. But I'm like, does Carmine? Has he put together the things that I've put together? And when I roll for those things, I kind of like, he doesn't have his memory. So the DC for him to know what's going on is actually higher than, like, I wouldn't roll 50-50 on a percentile for that. I would say that's like unlikely to very unlikely because he doesn't have his memory to be able to put those pieces together. So then I roll on that. If I roll a no, then it's like, okay, I take this piece of information that I know as the player and I put it over here because Carmine does not have access to that information.
Exactly. And another thing I'd like to add into there as well is I do want to reiterate that your characters know what you told me for your backstory. If you do not tell me in your backstory, your character doesn't know, or at least doesn't remember.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
So the more backstory you gave me, the more your character remembers.
Okay.
Philip doesn't remember shit.
Yeah. Well, and that's
nothing against Jin, but it's great character regardless.
Oh yeah. Well, and that's why it's going to be interesting because, like, I, as the player, I know stuff from his backstory because we sort of workshopped to find connection points. And so I know that, like, Carmine's memory is not going to be jogged by certain things because they're not the way he remembers them, which is going to be really interesting.
Right. And doesn't remember either, it's just me.
What's that?
The fact that Philip doesn't remember either is just funny.
Yeah, well, and I thought about that after the last session. I was like, this is going to be interesting depending on how Jinma plays it, because this could be a point, this could be like a major point of contention between these two characters. If they like really click on their diverging backstories, these two characters could essentially become antagonistic to each other.
Right.
What is this video?
You.
Okay. Oh, no, that's not that's not even the one. That's not the one
it's
where
not because you do it in that.
I did shave in that one. Yep. I did shave in that one. There's a more recent one than that, which is the last time that I shaved.
Mm.
Yeah, and we're just going over what about session 1 that you liked and whatnot. And Cap was
saying
I was
thinking about it. I really liked the way that you describe the outside of the
So what Cap was just talking about.
The time,
yeah. I like how you described how things interacted. Like the stick.
Yeah.
Grandma's got to do her experiments.
Throwing it up, it transforming again with that aging process, and then coming back down, but not reverting because it's already been outside of that vortex. That time.
Yeah, that was really fascinating.
Not that you guys can go back for it at this point, but there was a lumbering Hulk in the woods that was just tipping over trees. That could have been a fight in itself if you guys had decided to step into this paradoxical time shifting. And the only person who would have been negatively impacted by that would have been Philip.
Yeah. But now here's the question.
Technically, Granny also.
Does the lumbering Hulk speak common?
As far as you know, you're not sure, because the first time you asked, you had a cloak, basically a cloaking spell on, so it heard something and then couldn't find you.
Oh, yeah.
The second time you guys just walked by.
Yeah, the only thing we know for a fact is it can hear.
Yes.
Yeah. Because it stopped. So it heard us. But whether it stopped because it understood the question or it stopped because it heard a noise.
Right.
It would have been funny if we had just heard, "Hey, yeah, I can speak common. Who said that? Is there anybody out there?
You're walking around in my woods?
What are you doing walking down? That's my time vortex. What are you doing down there? Are you walking down the railroad?
Don't lie to me, boy."
Ridiculous.
I think you got me all figured out. You ever drink Bailey's out of a shoe?
Yeah. Tell me you love me.
Dang, dang, do.
What do you think of me, boy? Make an assessment. The lumbering Hulk is now officially old Greg. Yeah. Since you guys can't go back for it anyways.
For him.
I know, right? Yeah. I did like my you know what was funny though? I actually confused the draconic companions of two different characters.
Oh no.
Yeah, because I have one that's a crystal dragon that's another character's companion. I'm pretty sure Carmine's is supposed to be a red dragon, but it's not fully a vampiric dragon. It's essentially flavored as undead because the three characters I mashed up to get him was the huntsman from Snow White, some of Robin Hood, and some of the prince from The Prince and the Dragon, because I wanted I wanted a character who had slayed a dragon, which would feed into him having a draconic companion. So the dragon, his draconic companion, is a dragon he killed, and when he became a vampire, like as a Drake Warden, he essentially got an undead dragon. But I was confusing the crystal dragon, so I was thinking that his companion was the crystal dragon, which was why I had it climb up out of the ground, sort of the same way the bullets did. I guess it still works.
I still think it works really well. It would definitely have to be either a red, a brass, or a copper. I think not copper. Copper is acid.
Oh, for fire.
Bronze. Yeah. it would have to be a brass, bronze, or red dragon because it is fire.
Yeah. I kind of like the idea. Well, I especially like the idea of a red dragon because we've got Ruby Garnet, we've got Carmine, like we've got. I didn't even intend for that opening title card to have those roses on it. It put the roses and the wolf, and I was like, yeah, that.
This session is about Rose.
Yep.
Rose red. Then I guess my next question is, what did you not like about session 1?
You want to go, Em?
I know
my answer. Go ahead.
That one's been difficult for me because, like, I've actually been really thinking about that, and I'm coming up empty.
Like, I do like to hear that, but I like to hear more what you did dislike.
I know, and I want to give you like constructive criticism, but I'm like, I like the way that you're playing the worlds. I like the way that you're shaping it like theater of the mind. It's intriguing, and I'm just really having a hard time trying to find something that I would be bothered with, or I think is weaker. So I honestly don't know, because like I'm thoroughly enjoying, and I can't really think of anything that I don't like so far.
I'm gonna give you.
I do appreciate hearing that.
I'm going to give you my bullshit answer first, and then I'm going to give you a semi-bullshit answer. Although I am going to first say your theater, watching you and listening to you do your theater of the mind is actually really helpful for me because I am going to broach into solo RPG in the next, few weeks to months. And part of me wants to use maps because I can pull like Roll20 up and do maps, like battle maps and stuff. But part of me does want to just do theater of the mind and describe it that way. So as you're describing theater, like it's giving me a sense of like this is how to do it well. My bullshit answer about what I didn't enjoy was the fact that you did everything too well and didn't give me anything to not enjoy. Is any of this recorded? I'd like to do some listening. You mean to my solo?
It's all on Twitch.
Yeah, the Grimm's Gathering is, and my solo RPG also will be.
No cowbell for it, and you're right. You're right. Toxic. My bad.
YouTube.
That's right.
It's on YouTube. Right.
Yeah, it'll be. Yeah, it'll be on Twitch
first.
VOD,
or is it just the? Will the VODs be, or is it just the clips?
Oh no, the games will be too. I've basically the first two. We played them on Wednesday, and then I let them stay on Twitch for the 7 days. But then I put them up on YouTube on Monday, the following Monday, so that it was available on YouTube for 2 days before the next new session.
Fair.
No, you have not been missing my solo RPGs. It's so weird because I've been like prepping, which is weird because I'm the only one involved, so I don't know what I'm prepping. Like it's just a matter of sit down and play it, and either record it and then post it, or just sit down and play it and stream it, and then put the stream over on YouTube. My half bullshit answer is go ahead.
I did want to say I do like using theater of the mind more because it allows for more leeway, more of a this works here sort of thing, and it's just the descriptions are. I keep a little notepad with little like letters to indicate who's who, as a keep my mind on track of where everybody is. But the point is not for you to feel like you need to know where you are and plan out like a strategy game. This is a role play game primarily with combat added. So Theater of the Mind works best because at that point, your combat only needs to be as effective as you want it to be. If you want to do, I hit this person, is there someone within reach to dash and hit the next? I might have had you like 50 feet apart. You're now 10 feet apart. But you don't know that because it's all in the mind.
Yeah, and what I've done for the teenagers game, we just had
the Grimm stuff. You have missed 2 weeks of Grimm Gathering. This would have been session 3.
This is session 2.5. This is like Captain America: Civil War, which was Avengers 2.5.
Yeah, fair.
With the teenagers game, we had a flashback, and there was a big combat, and we didn't have the map. And so we did it Theater of the Mind. And when it came to like mechanical stuff, like, am I within reach? am I within melee reach, or am I too close to leave without an opportunity attack? I literally just rolled on the I rolled the percentile, and I went 50-50. I said, "Are you within 5 feet?" I rolled it. If it was lower than 50, then I'm like, "No, you're not. Okay, you're 10 feet." So like you can move. And so literally in those cases, I'm just like, I'll just let the dice decide how close you are, if that matters, because in a lot of cases it doesn't matter.
With things like that, I like whatever is most theatrically entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
And with Theater of the Mind, you literally can determine, okay, this creature is now just barely out of reach of you because you want to swing it, you want to hit one, and you want to use a feat to swing at another. Well, it actually is just barely. It's there, it's right near you, and it will be able to take a step forward and hit you next turn, but it's just out of your reach this turn to keep the fight going a little bit longer. Or maybe the enemies are supposed to be spread out, but because the fight's coming to such a close end, I think it's more entertaining that, okay, this creature that would have been 10 feet out of your spell range is now just inside that circle, sort of thing.
Right. And it kind of functions like Schrödinger's combat in a way, because there's not a map where everybody can look at it and go, yes, this is the definitive state of the combat, the physical geography of the combat. It is whatever it needs to be, unless it's been, like, if you say, yes, you are within melee of this monster, then when it comes to, okay, the monster wants to leave, okay, then I get an opportunity attack. I want to leave. Okay, the monster gets an opportunity attack because it's been stated I am within 5 feet. But if that's not been stated, then it's whatever works in that moment.
Right. And on top of that, it also allows for I do not know why today I've been having thoughts that just disappear.
Yeah.
But with Theater of the Mind, it very much is Schrödinger's combat, but in such a way that it does not. You're not always second guessing. Am I allowed to do this? It's more of a I want to do this. And that's why now I remember what I was going to say. That's why you'll hear me say a lot, you're about this far away. You're approximately 30 feet from the monster, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Where it's approximately means that maybe it's on or off by 5 feet.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, we lost it. What?
That was my fault. So I've discovered, we're going to lose the video again for a split second here because I'm going to pull up my Word document. And what I've discovered about OBS is that, and Knight explained this to me too, is that if you have any other windows open and maximized, if you tab to them, you lose the video. So all my tabs have to be not maximized, they have to be smaller. So now my Word document is smaller, I can pop to it, and I can write down Schrödinger's Combat as the title for this session. So my half
enjoy while he does that.
Yeah, my half bullshit answer of what
I found it.
Oh, yeah. My half bullshit answer is I
did want to say real quick for OBS, if you have things that are maximized, clicking window and then choosing on your taskbar to change doesn't do that with OBS.
Oh, okay. Yes, I will keep that in mind then. Yeah, but my half bullshit answer, and this is a thing about me specifically as a player, I hate my indecision. And so that compounds when you get multiple players, and not indecision, like full blown indecision, but like the fact that like we got halfway down the path and then went back, versus like it's pretty clear in terms of like meta narrative, the story's that way.
Right.
We got halfway down the thing, and then we're testing and we're experimenting and we're doing what people would probably really do in that scenario. But there is that like the player knowledge that like the story is not us investigating the time vortex. The story is us going down and finding whatever's in the field. And it can play out however
you don't know if that's the case. If I describe something, it's story.
That's true. And for all we know, the story could have been the lumbering Hulk in the timey-wimey.
In the old Greg.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, indecision in general. And that's why I don't like to put that on anybody else, because I know I am massively guilty of that. And it got to the point though, in that session that Chet was literally calling us out on it. Both of Chet's personalities were arguing with each other about it.
So part of the reason for that is in our home game, Popo has a tendency to be the driving force for the game. And that's why he wanted to play such chaotic characters, so he didn't have to be the driving force. He didn't have to choose where the plot's going. He could leave it up to other people, and he can trail behind and just be fun and chaotic. So I encourage a little bit of decision making, a little less decision paralysis. But I will say I understand having it because I offered you a sandbox.
Yeah. Well, and that's why I sort of outsource it because for me as a player, there's the conflict between analysis paralysis and main character syndrome, and those conflict for me because I'm like I don't want to be the one making a bunch of decisions because then that feels main character-y to me. But then on the other side of it, I'm like, if nobody's making decisions, then we're just going to stand here poking the time wall until we all die. So what worked out really well in this was having the Draconic Companion, because then I can go, yeah, Carmine's standing there and the dragon's walking down the road. So I'm like, well, and it's me making the decision, but I sort of outsource it a little bit. And I'm like, no, it's the dragon. That's an animal who's just like, fuck you guys, I'm going this way. And I'm like, my dragon's going, I'm going to go this way. I'm following my dragon.
The only way I could say anybody would be taking over like main character-y is if someone decides to start role-playing or describing out long scenes or take sort of the description ability and privilege that I have as a DM to tell you what the world is and start describing your own things for what's going on. That is when I feel like someone's becoming the main character, when they think they're more important than everybody else, is when they start making what's happening in the game fit what they want.
Right.
Whereas if it's making questions, making requests, or just being like, I want to do this, I'm not seeing that as being a main character. I'm seeing that as giving me the opportunity as a DM to let you run wild.
Right. And it's really just agency. Like, because as long as I, as a player, am only taking agency over my character, then that's what you're saying, that's not main character. When I try to take agency over things that are not under my character's control, that's when it's out of hand.
When you kill 3 bullets in the span of 2 turns, we'll talk. You might be a DM. Now, that being said, that was still session 1.
Right. Yeah. And that's I'm not worried, or I wasn't fully concerned. There was that part of me that's like, I like to spread around the kills in a combat. On the flip side of that, knowing that there's 5 or 6 sessions and there's 4 or 5 characters, my DM brain thinks like, okay, this session is this character centric, and it doesn't have to be planned. It just sort of works out. So in my head, I'm like, okay, man, Carmine had his fucking moment. Now the rest of the sessions, I'm gonna play him 5% back because I've had my moment. I've had my session. He's going to play support to everybody else so that everybody else gets their sessions now.
Right. And I don't, if that's how you want to play it, absolutely. I like to have it where if there is a moment I want a player to have, I will make sure that player has it. And if I feel like someone isn't getting enough screen time, I will ask them, what are you doing right now? Like when I asked Jinma, what is Philip doing right now? To try to be like, what's he doing? And he's like, nothing, just kind of staying there watching what's happening. Like, all right, I tried. If you want to have your character stand off in the back, that is okay. I will not force you to role play or play through your character if you're not ready for that. And that's why I switched over to Popo's character Chet, and that's when he did have something going on.
Yeah. Now the alternative to that is you get the vampire pissing into the tree.
Yeah. And the alternative is pissing into the trees, and then all of a sudden the ground is squishy.
Correct.
And moist.
And the bullets are coming up mad because I peed all over them.
Yeah.
Sometimes you do also just have to yeet Jinma off a cliff. Just saying.
This is
well,
nice.
I mean, to be fair, he is the only mortal in the town of vampires now. So
I don't mean like literally eat him off a cliff, but like sometimes you have to just be like, okay, I'm giving you this thing, take it.
Yeah.
And well, like, okay.
In terms of wanting to play a full-blown serious campaign, though, Jin was your go-to guy. Like, I remember him and Dustin having a conversation about implementing some like gritty realism rules into the Mountain of Mystery campaign. Like the 8 hours being a short rest and like having to have a week of downtime as a long rest kind of thing. And he ends up playing like the serious characters in a lot of the games. So I feel like if you
He's
really
like, I always play the dad.
Yeah. Well, that's because you got a bunch of fucking chaos gremlins.
Yeah.
Join us in the chaos.
I definitely do want to start doing another a proper weekly campaign. Again, because for reasons I will not be continuing my home campaign. Which is the first time most of my players, if any of them are watching right now, will be hearing this. Some of them already know, some of them do not. I'll be reaching out to a couple of them individually to be like, hey, so things are happening. I'm not going to be running this campaign anymore. I do want to then want to run basically that same universe because I've been building that world for so long for a Twitch stream sort of style campaign again. I might not start that until after Grimm's Gathering is done, though, unless Grimm's Gathering becomes a campaign.
Right. And you can kind of dovetail it in.
Right. At that point, I have to make some real big adjustments because the universe I want to run is so far detached from this universe that they would not work very well together unless we talked preemptively about what characters you would want to play in this other campaign that I have. And then we can go from there because it would not be the characters you're playing now.
Right. Yeah. Well, and that's kind of like Meg did a thing like that with their home game where we played essentially a prologatory story where it didn't end up being a TPK, but that was distinctly on the table, and there were several character deaths because we knew we were only playing those characters for 3 to 4 sessions. So it could.
There is a bad ending.
Like I'm murdering all of you.
Yeah, and that's it. Could be the sort of scenario where we go, we created these characters for Grimm's Gathering, and if part of that becomes the potential for a TPK that leads into future stories, then maybe that's the direction it goes.
Yeah, no. This campaign, there's only 3 ways that it can end. Really, there are only 3 ways that this can end: the good ending, the neutral ending, and the bad ending.
Perfect.
The good ending, you have to remember what's happened so far. The bad ending, you have to die. And the neutral ending is what I believe will likely happen.
Well, I just got my first taste of character death. So, I'm like
I will say the final session will be a probably like half the session long combat.
Ooh,
and
very nice.
It will be rough.
Amazing.
You will, if everyone makes it out of it alive, I'll be very surprised if it's not the good ending reason why.
Yeah, I mean that's sort of, we got a little primer of that with Megs because that was essentially the way we were told in advance. We're like, it's unlikely. Didn't they tell us like it's unlikely that any of you make it out, and like almost certainly not all of you making it out. Yeah, and I think we had a 33% mortality rate. We had 6 characters and 2 of them died. Yeah.
Hi, Rain. Sorry, a friend of mine in the chat. But so, any ideas for session 1 that you did not like? All right, let's switch over.
I've been racking my brain. I've been thinking through the whole session, and I really, truly cannot think of anything that I did not enjoy or was intrigued by.
She didn't really like
session 2. Then it was shorter.
She didn't like when my dragon bit her.
Valid, understandable. Okay, then looking at session 2, it was about a half session. If we look at how we started late and we ended early, it was about a half session, in my opinion, where you guys were walking along, going back to the path after the dwarves kind of kicked you out, being harassed more or less by something in the undergrowth from where the bullets were after they scavenged and harvested the bodies. Walking through this new brightly colored forest, finding a ghost child, or at least what looked like a ghost child, and then heading to the city of vampires.
I think our wishy-washiness with the kid
is what you liked.
What I disliked.
Fair.
I mean,
in reality, I handed veteran players a not so. I handed you a cookie, and you don't know if it's poisoned.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it was just like it was more that just like. And this was on us as players. We just kind of all stood around until Popo was like, "I'm gonna teach the kid poker," and like,
right,
yeah.
Even then, it was still just like, "What's happening? What are we doing?" Like,
fair. I didn't really. The problem is, it's kind of like it's very much a Chekhov's gun scene.
Mm-hmm.
I gave you the red scarf, and I did not tell you what it's for yet.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And that's the whole point of that. It is to test your knowledge, test your memory, make sure that you can remember that this even happened and how it happened. By the time the use by the time it's time. By the time it's time, at the point it's time to fire the gun, you have to know you have it.
Right. Yeah.
So that's why I had to put that there, because it's important.
Yeah. And that's sort of the trick. That's sort of the trick of building the narrative, is making sure the gun's there, making sure the characters know they have the gun in the moment they have it, and then making them forget.
Right. It's literally
what the fuck?
I am putting the gun in your bag. It is your choice to pull it out when you're supposed to.
Mm-hmm. What gun?
Exactly. But so I understand I handed you this, and then it's like, now you do, because it's not an immediate payoff.
Yeah.
And a lot of D&D is usually a cause and effect with an immediate payoff for part of that setup. But this had no payoff for the setup.
Yeah, and I don't necessarily think that's a downfall. Occasionally that can when it's in a like an open long-term campaign, that's like perfectly fine, because you're not aiming for like a time limit. It's sort of the idea of when you have a one shot, you can't really start, if you've got an idea for the plot, if you've got the hook, you can't really start it with your characters are in a tavern and you meet for the first time, because the whole session will be the players playing their characters meeting each other and never getting to the job. So like when you know that you're in a one session 3 to 4 hour time limit, you have to be like, you met, you took this job, you are on your way to the cave, and like you jump them forward to those parts. So this, I think that was more of a case of like, you gave us a sandbox element in a time limit scenario, and so we kind of were like, it's kind of that idea that like we sort of were expecting like a very clear like, okay, ghost kid who wants us to take him to this place, that's what we're gonna do. And not that it was a bad thing, it was just like we were like, play poker, like it worked.
In reality, what it was supposed to, the poker wasn't supposed to happen. In reality, the way it was supposed to go was because you guys didn't mess with the stacked rocks until after the poker game for whatever reason. If I remember correctly, and it was either that or someone restacked the rocks, and Popo then immediately said that they was going to teach kids poker, and I didn't want to say they just disappeared, because that feels like I'm punishing a player for interacting.
Right.
So it was one or the other. I don't remember the order. The point being, though, that it was supposed to just be once you restack the rocks, the kid says thank you and asks you to help him remember that kindness, that you people are kind. If only he had met you guys sooner, help me remember, and then would disappear. And that's also why I keep bringing up this ghost kid-ish, because in reality, it appears like an apparition, but isn't a dead child.
Right. And it was also in the timey-wimey, right? It was off the path in that sort of...
It was not timey-wimey. It was a different woods.
Yeah, it was the other woods. It was funny because I kept thinking of the movie The Abyss, where they had to learn how to breathe liquid oxygen, and it was
I'm a
that.
little disappointed because I don't think you'll go back to it. Nobody cast any spells while they were in that part of the woods. You wouldn't have used a spell slot.
Ooh. So what I'm hearing...
I thought about it, but my warlock ass was like, I gotta save my spell slot.
Amazing.
It would not have used up any spells. That gooey sort of membrane that you walk through is pure magic.
Liquid magic. It's like liquid oxygen, except you can cast spells with it.
Your imagination.
Bronzo. It's what the plants crave.
That's right. That's right. It's a world of pure imagination.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think literally. It was what Cap was saying of like giving us too much rain in that scene, mixed with the fact that we don't fucking ask questions ever.
Yeah.
In every freaking game we've ever played, we've been playing. I have known this man for 3 years. We have been playing D&D for almost 3 years together, and we are just now starting to ask fucking questions.
I have a post-it note on my computer.
Questions.
Yes, I have 2 post-it notes on my computer. One is read the questions. The other is ask questions. And the read the questions is over here because it's below where I have my phone for my live streams. And it says read the questions because when I download that and put it on YouTube, it's not going to have the questions there. And then the one over here says ask questions because we don't ask questions.
I'm gonna sidetrack us just for a second because that brought up something I forgot to tell you. Cap, you need to add something to that. Read the full question.
Oh yeah.
Because there were so many times that you would read only half of the question and then start laughing or start answering the question without actually finishing what the question was.
That sounds like that sounds
I would also like to show you how to add the stream chat to your OBS overlay so that when downloading the VOD in the future, they can if it's like this where we're talking to chat to a point as well, the people watching it know what we're reading.
Yeah. I could there's probably a proper way to do it. I could sort of figure a way to do it. What I wanted to do was figure out, because I did simul stream on TikTok and Twitch, and the idea was that the Twitch stream was going to be my recording so that it's on Twitch and I can just download it and put it over on YouTube or just directly transfer it over to YouTube, but it doesn't have the questions. And so I was trying to figure out a way if there is a way to have a Twitch stream up on a desktop so that I could pull the actual stream into OBS and have essentially a screen recording, which feels like going like all the way around my elbow to get to my asshole, but
Ouroboros here.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I think it's possible. I don't know if you'll get it running well, but who knows?
It kind of feels like being in a hallway, or it feels like being in a room with mirrors on both walls. Like I'm trying to essentially put OBS inside of OBS, and OBS is like, you're giving me an identity crisis. I don't know what to do right now.
Yeah. If you're recording on OBS to get the stream, if you're streaming OBS to Twitch and you're trying to pull the Twitch video to be your OBS stream, you're going to get like just a black screen because there's no start.
No, what I would do, so what I did with that one was I used...
Toxic.
I had like this on-air screen, and I had the feed was my laptop camera. And so my idea then was to have have my TikTok account open in a browser on the computer, and then do a window grab of that, and essentially have them side by side. Which
you can do that. It requires a second TikTok account. TikTok will not watch your own live stream on TikTok's browser if you're on TikTok live on your phone.
Okay. So I'd have to like...
you have that... You have screen cap.
I was going to say, I do have another one, yeah. So I would log into that on the desktop, pull up the Cap Without a Country, and then
your screen cap.
I would screen cap screen cap. I would screen cap from screen. But then I actually then wouldn't even need to use my laptop camera because what I would just window capture. Screen cap would window capture Capwithoutacountry into OBS, so it would have the video and the chat
and the comments.
Can we just get you a third account that's just you screaming, and it's just called Caps Lock?
Yes, I want to play a warlock called Caps Lock.
Fools.
Yes, correct.
Yeah, it would be more helpful. But so having an idea that the thing you didn't like about session 2 was having too much free reign, which is always weird to hear from players because like I don't want to railroad
us.
Well, see, there's a difference between railroading and holding someone's hand for a moment and being like giving them
let's go.
Giving them a big hint. Like giving them a big nudge. Because sometimes because this is actually something that Cap and I discussed just with writing, is that something might be clear and concise in your head about how it's supposed to work and how it's supposed to sound, but to somebody else who doesn't already have the context and the visuals that you have in your head, it's foreign, it's new, and they're not necessarily going to jump to the same conclusions that you jump to. And so we talked about that in writing of like where's the point where you give just enough description but not too much description that it becomes Tolkien, but like enough that it's enough that it's like
the
they can build a picture. But they have enough that they can build a picture in their mind or understand a concept that is completely new to them because you understand it because you're writing it, right? Or you're creating it as a DM. But that doesn't necessarily mean that the average person is going to immediately jump to the same conclusions. And it's not saying that anything that you're making is bad. It's just that brains work differently.
I will add one thing then. If you need a little bit of hand-holding, or I should add a little bit of hand-holding to progress the story along in at least the direction that I'm expecting it to go, I need to know where the disconnect ends up being. So I will need you to ask questions.
Yep. So maybe if there's a lack of questions where there's supposed to be questions, that might also be your answer. You're like, why aren't they saying anything? There's a lot of people just
standing there doing nothing. I'm gonna be. I usually turn around and ask, "What are you doing?" And that is my. Or I don't know what direction you want to move in from here. I'm leaving the floor up to you. What would you want to do? And it's that point where it's like you have to ask me what you can do based on what your character would want to do in that moment.
Yeah.
Like the floor is open, do what you want, but I'm giving you every single option. Your character only wants 5 of them.
Yeah. So essentially,
which of those 5 can you do in this moment?
You could have like a teacherly moment where you could be like, "All right, class, any questions?"
Yeah, because I feel like sometimes too, there's this hesitation of, I don't want to be the person who always asks questions, or I don't want to be the person who always swings first. But then if you have everybody who's thinking about that and like is frozen in that I don't want to be the one to do it first thing, then you get the wild card that's like, I'm gonna do the weird shit.
Yeah. You get that. You also have the bystander effect of I want to let other people have the spotlight for a moment from everybody, so nobody's doing anything because they all think that someone else is going to do the thing.
That's why I said about the Draconic Companion. It's sort of, honestly, I feel like for me to work my way around that notion for me as a player, familiars and companions are really good for that. Like I was saying with the dragon. I, as the player, can go, Carmine's not the one going, "Hey guys, let's go this way." I'm saying the dragon's just doing it because the dragon's an animal. The dragon acts on instinct. So the dragon's not standing around being indecisive. It's like, I heard something crying, I'm going to go, or I heard something giggling, I'm going to go this way. And the characters are like, "What are you doing?" It could be, and the dragon's like, "I'm a fucking dragon. Like, follow me or don't." But that's sort of my
food.
Right. That's my workaround. Is I give Buzz is the classic example. Leander can be indecisive or whatever. Buzz will just go do whatever he wants, and that's where I'm like, okay, this is what I as the player want to do and
That's
want to
also why when you were
suggest.
in the city, I had your dragon just lay there because of two things. One, it feels safe and comfortable. I want you all to feel like you can be safe and comfortable in the city for the time being. And two, this is one of those moments where it is so sandbox. I have branching story paths right now based on what you go to do. I can't give you a direction because there are too many.
Yeah.
Going into the bazaar, talking to some people and asking questions was exactly what I needed to be done. And Pobo did exactly what I needed of him, and I appreciate that.
Yeah. And that's the sort of the double-edged beauty of it, is that we as DMs, we have what we expect to happen. And we can come up with as many things as we expect to happen, but the players will always come up with something that we didn't anticipate. And it's like, it's a beautiful thing because it's the unanticipated and the unexpected. But in a limited series, it also is like, okay, this could turn into an entire session, which could extend it, which is perfectly fine because it's not like required to be X number of sessions. But also knowing like that is a possibility.
Sometimes too, and I've done this, and I've had this done to me in games. You find get your mind out of the gutter.
I'm the mayor
you
of the
find
gutter.
the player that you trust or that you know will be the least chaotic if that's not what you're looking for in this situation. DM them. Be like, hey, go talk to the merchant.
Right.
That's all. Yeah. That's all it needs to be. You don't need to tell them anything else. Just like, hey, go interact with this thing, or hey, use this spell right now.
And I definitely
see what happens.
I definitely do use that to a point. I kind of like abusing that at points too. Like your character would know to do this. You, the player, might not know to do this. So your character would know to do this. Here's that little push that your character might want to do this right now.
Yeah, and there's also there are sort of meta mechanical things. Like if you ask for a perception check, that's sort of telegraphing to the players there is something to be noticed. And so like it sort of like puts the players like, hey, there's something in the world happening right now. You're rolling to see whether or not you notice it. If you roll and you don't notice it, you as the player still know there is something happening worth noticing right now. And so it's still in game, but it kind of is like, hey, go.
I like to abuse that to a point as well, where I will have everybody roll, and as long as nobody rolls like a natural 20, I'll just go, okay. As you guys are, what were you guys doing anyways? Sort of thing is like, okay, I'll remember that sort of thing. As a first check, just keep the dice rolling, sort of thing. It doesn't mean anything. There's nothing going on. I just want to add that layer of anxiety.
Correct. Yeah, exactly.
With that player who rolled a 19, what did I not perceive at a 19?
Yep. That was my greatest.
I got a total of 27. What do you mean I don't know? What do you mean there's nothing to notice?
Yeah, my first achievement unlock moment as a DM was when I was DMing the teenagers game, and I asked for a perception roll, and all three of them simultaneously were like, "Oh." It was so satisfying.
I think that was the first game I ever listened in on too.
I think it might have been,
and all of them just collectively like groaned, and I was like, ha ha ha.
I did want to add to the as DMs, we know that we can prepare a lot of different options, but the players will always come up with something we didn't prepare for.
Yeah.
Do you want to know my notes for this game, for this whole mini session campaign?
Do they fit on a 3x5 card? There you go.
Nope, they're all in my brain. I don't have it written down anywhere because I literally only play by the seat of my pants. That is my DM style. I have bullet point thoughts. But like when I think of this campaign, I think of these moments I really want to touch on. How do I get to these moments?
Right.
And the largest, biggest moment, aside from the like the largest moment that we actually did that I prepared for, was that ghost child.
Mm-hmm.
The jailbreak moment, complete seat of the pants. I didn't expect you guys to just decide halfway through the path that you're going to turn around. Like, no, what are you doing? Go forward.
Yeah.
I gave you
that
a
was
road.
The moment where we were like, we don't ask enough questions. Let's go back.
Yeah. Well, that's where the Mythic GM system, me and Em have played. Look, I think we've played a couple games we've actually streamed, and I think there are a couple over on YouTube.
Mhm.
But essentially, it's a way of letting the dice tell you things that even you as a DM didn't prepare. So, like, say we're walking down the road and we're like, "Hey, can I roll perception?" And you might not have anything planned. And M rolls a nat 20, and you're like, "Well, I got to give her something." So then you
Drugs.
ask drugs, right? Of course. So then you roll the percentile, and you're because it's you don't know, it's 50-50. You go, "Is there anything worth noticing here?" And if you roll, you roll a 15, you're like, "Okay, the dice have actually indicated there is something to notice here." You haven't planned it though, so you can actually go to all of their D100 inspiration charts and go like, okay, it's an object. Okay, what's the object? Now this turns into a plot point that you hadn't anticipated, and it could completely derail everything. But it's kind of a way of not prepping, but having stuff available to sort of answer those moments.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, sorry, Em.
No, you're okay. I was just gonna say, my style is I kind of marry the two of them. I'm very lucky. I didn't start DMing until last year. Last year?
It was October of last year, I think. Yeah.
Or May. It was May of last year.
Was it May?
Yeah, May. It was May of last year.
Gathering 3. Got it.
Yeah. I didn't start DMing until last year. And so I've had the chance to watch Meg and Dustin and Anthony and anybody else that we've played with who's DM'd and see their DM styles, see the mistakes that, they make, like, hey, what's that NPC's name? Bob. Like,
Jeff.
When I say mistakes, I mean that stuff. Just the little tiny trivial things.
Boblin the Goblin.
That I'm like,
that's right.
Yeah, Boblin the Goblin. Yeah. So seeing the little things that catch them off guard and being like, cool, I'm gonna prepare for that. That I have notes, but they are bullet points.
You sure about that?
Damn,
they're not bulletproof.
I got an anti-tank rifle.
Dude, that is the level of confidence you have achieved in 1 year. We need to bottle that and sell it on Etsy. That is amazing.
I meant to say bulletproof.
My DMing style is bulletproof.
Bulletproof.
That isn't even bulletproof.
It is a blend of how like you and Cap both work as DMs, because Cap is the note taker, Cap is the prepper, and and then you are very much like Dustin in the way that you DM, and so I have bullet points of like I just can't keep things in my brain. After having COVID, I get brain fog and stuff, so I have to have bullet points just to remember the shit that I came up with. I only write down more lengthy things when I have, like, if this character is asked this question, this is the information that they're going to give on a certain role, and then have, more information. But most of it is just like I have an idea in my head that I want to run with. I'm not really sure how it's going to turn out, because got ones and we're just going to have a good time, and I make myself backup plans for pros and cons. So like if I'm having a battle, I have the creature or creatures that I want them to go up against, and I'm like, if they're whooping my ass, I'm going to add 2 of these or 1 more of this, and I have it just in the wings that I can pull out. And if they're getting their asses handed to them, then I'm like, okay, how am I going to either manipulate the creature to, maybe it's going to run off, maybe it doesn't want to die, and it's going to hurt them enough that it can flee, or can I introduce another character or another creature that will assist them to be able to achieve this goal? And so it's finding that lovely balance of prep work, and just kind of looking at other DMs and finding the things where they get caught up and being like, okay, how can I plan for that? I have a whole list of names.
You mentioned
NPCs.
having someone run off, and all I can think of is my favorite meme I've seen, which is a party wiping out basically an entire tribe of goblins, and one of them, they see one running away and hiding in like a cupboard or something, and as they open up the door to see it, it's huddling there shaking with a scroll in its hand. And as the, like, however you describe a scroll being used up, I like to describe it as the scroll gets burned up as the spell is cast.
Mm-hmm.
As the scroll gets burned up, you look up in horror as the sun explodes.
Nice.
Oh shit!
Nice. You know, I had a realization.
That's how you end the murder hobo campaign.
Yeah, I had a realization, and I apologize in advance for the dad joke, but I just realized that the Rousseau brothers are doomsday preppers.
You son of a bitch.
Anyways,
the fact that I heard your hands hit the table, I heard them hit that's amazing. Anyway.
I wanted to add one more thing about my DM style. I am what I like to call a improv lore guru. You can ask me anything, like not this campaign, because this campaign is not supposed to be a full campaign. It's a one-shot. It's not supposed to have depth in the lore of the world. My other campaign, my Spelljammer campaign, where I have 7 different solar systems with 13 different planets, whole different socioeconomic situations and everything. You can ask me a random question or give me a one-sentence prompt, and I will give you lore immediately, like within 5-10 minutes. Give me a second to think about it, and I will drop some lore I had never thought of before, but it feels in-depth enough that I have to have had it written down somewhere.
Yeah, that's very cool. That is what improv is the thing that I feel the least... To say least prepared for is weird, because that's the nature of improv, but like improv is the thing I feel I am the least good at.
The problem with my style of improv, though, is it is question based. You have to ask me a question so I can give you an answer and improvise that answer out of nowhere. If I'm playing with people who are just following the path or not, they're not asking questions, I can't improvise lore right away and be like, oh yes, this and that thing.
Yeah.
So it becomes more of a story that you're watching me tell as opposed to one that you're creating. I can't write for the life of me, so I need other people to tell the story with me.
Yeah. I remember having that conversation with Dustin specifically about us not asking questions, and I feel like part of it is this it's part of the dynamic between the player and the DM, and some players feeling like the DM is the world and the DM is going to tell us and put the things in front of us, and not realizing that we are an equal part of the world, that we have to contribute with our questions or with the things we do, because the things we do affect the world.
Victoria's Fennel Ellie Giggle.
Yeah. The title.
Lazy Victoria's Fennel Ellie Giggle.
That's right.
I need you to know the last one was Oblique Faithful Kimchi Rack Attack.
Wasn't that a drag queen on RuPaul's season 14?
I'm gonna take some of these and turn them into like wild magic spells.
We should pitch these all to Nerdy as stickers.
Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, it's finding, because I think it was the Dungeon Master's Guide, I think, that has like the most simplified version of the relationship between DM and player. It is the DM describes the environment, the player describes what their character does, the DM describes how the character's action changes the environment, repeat. Because the player action alters the environment, the DM describes this is the new environment because of your actions, now tell me what you're doing. And then the player does something, and then the world reacts, and then the player does it, and it's literally just that back and forth. But that requires us. That's half us.
Yeah. And I also like doing that with not even your player action. Your backstory has altered the course of the way that the game is going to go as well. This city, this town with vampires did not exist in the original draft I had in my head about this campaign.
Yeah.
It just did not exist, period.
Yeah. I love the fact, too, that half of the players whose stories are in this city have no idea right now.
Yeah.
Jinma has not quite put that together yet.
Yeah. That is really funny. Okay. That both of you were like, oh, Jesus Christ.
To wrap this up, though, sorry, no, you finish your thing first.
I was just gonna say, I think the thing that might help is straight up just talking to the feeling like having this, and just being like, don't worry about like feeling like you're taking the spotlight or you're taking too many liberties. Ask questions. Just throw them out there. If you guys talk over each other, take a breath, say you go first, whoever, and just do it. Like, I feel like there's hesitation because people are like, I don't know if anybody else is going to do something or say something, and I don't want to step on their moment, and like, and then everybody's doing that to each other, and so we just stand there looking at each other. So I think having those moments of like, if you notice that that's happening a lot, of just like talking to the players and just being like, just say it, just say the weird thing.
Say the weird thing. No, not you.
Yes, absolutely you.
Yes. I mean that's Popo's entire character.
Yeah. I'm halfway there.
The weird thing.
I'm halfway there because I have those moments where I'm like, I want to do the stupid thing. Like I say it, I sort of telegraph it. I'm like, I have an idea. It's a bad idea. It is a stupid idea, but it's gonna move shit forward, one way or the other.
Like I am half tempted to offer this specific group of players an opportunity to play my Quest for the Dawnstar campaign.
Mm.
The problem is, it's a bi-weekly campaign that could span years. So it's wanting to be part of that for a long period of time.
That doesn't sound like a problem.
It's the time block I have to operate on.
Mm-hmm.
It has to be Saturdays, every other Saturdays, midday to evening.
Mm-hmm.
And that becomes a problem. I mean, it becomes a problem for some people. It's like, well, Saturdays are the weekend. A lot of people play D&D on Saturdays, and therefore, if you already have a campaign that runs on Saturdays, you don't want to participate in another one that plays on Saturdays.
Right.
One of my players kind of prioritized their other friend group's D&D game that they started afterwards over mine. So it is what it is. I don't want to do that to anybody.
Yeah.
I also would require. I have to have my wife and Popo as players.
Mm-hmm.
And potentially another friend of mine as a player because she just started in my home campaign and I'm now ending it. She's had 2 sessions in the game. I feel bad.
Yeah.
It kind of it's a bad feeling to be like, yeah, you can play it. I need an extra player because we keep canceling game because I don't have enough people to play. And then, well, we still keep canceling games, so I'm just gonna end it. You got 2 sessions in as your character. Sorry.
Right. Yeah.
But it's one of those. I can play with a maximum of 6 people.
Mm-hmm.
I want to run it on Twitch. Like she might not join us anyways because Twitch, but it's that getting a group of people who can meet on Saturday consistently to the point where I feel like it's actually being played. Hell, if we're doing on Twitch, I'd even make it weekly. But it's one of those things. It has to end before the session has to end before 10 p.m. Eastern time. Like probably before 9 p.m. Eastern time, because at 10 p.m. Popo has his community night streams.
Yes. Yeah.
And I don't want to step on those toes. Yeah. And I want to run a session that's about 3 to 4 hours long. So that means we got to start around 5. So that's the time block. 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. That's it. I really can't do earlier in the day, mostly because I can't wake up early in the day. And it gives people the opportunity to get up and do their things and not start their day on D&D. Which some people have an issue with. Not obviously we're all nerds here, like long-term nerds here. Wait. I'm dealing with people who aren't. Normally.
I'm not a nerd.
You're right, you're a dork.
You guys are
I'm sorry, April Fool's was yesterday. I'm sorry.
So wait, you're a dork. you're a nerd, I'm a geek. We've got the trifecta. We've got the Trinity here.
Yeah, night. That would be Eastern time is what I'm referring to, but yeah, still.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's like part of the idea. Yes. Yeah, hell yeah. You're part of the idea of the versal plane, and so the versal plane is sort of this weird sort of mid ground because with the stream key and everything, it's squicky. But like the idea of the versal plane was to have a bunch of different like different people running different games on different days. Um, the YouTube can absolutely be that because everything there gets uploaded, like nothing there's live. So anything that's recorded can be sent to someone and uploaded there. And then if that's shared there on a schedule, it's effectively the same thing. There's just not a live audience during the playing of. So yeah, this is sort of this is the theater house, and that's the movie house.
Fair.
Yeah.
And it does come down to, like, I would absolutely run that. Hell, if we could end up with a weekly game, you two, Popo, my wife, Mark, and Knight, hell, that fills out the whole group, and I'd be more than happy with that if we want to run a game like that weekly.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's an ideal cast list if I had to choose.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, and that's all that we can put all that in the Discord groups too. We can put, yeah, there you go.
The thing is, though, for me, I unfortunately for the foreseeable future will be working on Saturdays during the day, and we also have another game that plays in the evenings. Mm-hmm. So games would theoretically have to be done, like, I'd say probably by 8, so that Cap would have a chance to eat something before starting in on another game.
Well, the teenager game starts at 7. Well, it doesn't start at 7 p.m. It's like starts between
never started at 7 p.m.
7:30, 8 o'clock. Yeah. But the funny part is that wasn't originally on Saturdays. That was originally on Fridays, and it ended up it bounces around to whenever works for the players. But yeah.
My home game was originally being run every other Saturday, 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Yeah. So that's what I'm used to doing anyways.
Right. Jedi, nerd with seasoning is it's my favorite phrase of this month at the very least.
But real quick, I did want to ask though, what was because we didn't talk about that. What was your favorite part about session 2 though? What did you like about session 2?
I loved the blood orange. Like that was such an inventive thing. I was like it makes sense in both contexts.
Yeah.
I was like, this is so great. I don't know why I loved it so much, but just the whole scene, but just the fact that exists as an object, I'm like, that's fucking awesome.
The tiny spoiler for going ahead. You're going to learn that a lot of things are insert object here, prefaced by blood.
Perfect.
You're going to run into some blood lamps.
Awesome.
You're going to run into some blood lamps. You might have to go read through a blood book. If you really got to use the bathroom, go use a blood toilet.
A blood bidet.
Yeah. It's quite literally just
like a waste of blood.
Oh, it's more a matter of like because the blood coins and the blood orange. It's like Batman naming everything. It's quick, grab the battery. What's a Terry?
Yeah, and have the bloodsheds. Yeah. As much as we talked about the moment of the kid being sort of an interesting balance of open world and lore, I did love that because I do love those moments of mystery, and I really love unexpected mystery. I love stuff that like happens where you're like, I would not have guessed that would have happened, and I have no idea what this is going to lead to or what it means, and I'm fascinated because like from the opposite perspective of a DM prepping things and the players going and doing whatever, it's the same scenario where I'm like, I'm the player. I know this is the hook. This is the plot that we're currently in. And when something completely unexpected happens, I'm like, ooh, the world exists. It's a thing that exists outside of us. I also love the fact that we literally walked into the intersection of two of our characters' backstories. Like the dramatic tension and irony and like the dramatic irony of like the players, how much the players know, how much the characters know, and the fact that like I know shit's gonna like come to a head at some point here, is really fun.
I can't wait to if you guys do go to the Adventure Guild to try to change your money around, because they're gonna have to contact the blood bank.
That's right. And figure out what the exchange rate. And the exchange rate changes every 15 minutes too.
Well, it depends on what type it is.
Yeah. All of my coins are AB negative.
There was a time when the conversion rate was a blood coin to a copper, but that was a typo.
I feel like blood coins should be made I feel like blood coins should be made mostly of iron, right?
There might be.
Now, if you actually
they taste like copper.
That's right. If you go to church and you put blood coin, if they pass around, you actually put the blood coins on a platelet.
And what was your favorite part about session 2, though?
Punching Anthony's character in the face. Wait, no, what?
You were saying the blood orange. Was that it?
I thought no. I was just like, that was the first thing that popped in my mind because it was just so great. Just the visual of it was so great.
I appreciate it. It was very much one of those. It was supposed to be like a confusion sort of bite, and then just this visceral thirst that you, because your characters have not eaten, and you don't have memory, so you don't know when the last time you've eaten is.
Yeah, I'm curious what Rose is gonna do too if she gets a blood orange or anything like that. I mean, she doesn't exactly like suck blood, but she still is a werewolf and like eats hearts and shit. So
Don't worry, we'll give you a durian fruit. It tastes like rotting meat.
I liked finding out that Carmine has a thing for gilfs. I rolled for that.
And I'm gonna play her like she's just oblivious to it, or she knows it's happening, but she's just teasing him.
She's so used to it, she just doesn't even care. But I rolled for that. That was another case of rolling the percentile. And if I had rolled a 75, I'd have been like, no, he doesn't care. But I rolled
so
like
the problem is you're choosing what the results are, and it's hard to know if you're choosing before or after you roll. It's like flipping a coin and deciding in the air what result you want it to be.
Well, no, with the mythic system, if it's a 50-50, if it's a yes, no, and you don't know the outcome, then it's 50-50. And if you roll 50 or lower, it's a yes. If you roll 51 or higher, it's a no. So like when I think Rose smacked Carmine on the ass or something, and I was like, oh, is he into that 50-50? And I rolled a 70 something. Or no, I'm sorry, I rolled a 29.
Yeah, so you ask a question. You have to ask a question. The dice are giving you the outcome by the number.
Okay.
Yeah. And you can decide the likelihood.
If he the likelihood of it. Yeah. If he rolled like a nat 1, yeah, he really likes it.
He would have been fully bricked up.
Nat 100, never do that again, and he'll cut your arm off.
Yeah, fair. Correct.
Exactly 50.
Yeah, he's just barely into it. He's into it, but he's not letting on.
Exactly 50. This has never happened before. I don't know if I like this.
Do it again. Do it again.
I must test it more to find out for science.
Do it again.
Do it again. Do it again, and we'll change the odds.
Yeah.
No, I like the way that you describe the city, and like the sound of the slamming doors in the distance, like people listening but being like and
people hiding away, and then as soon as the sun goes down, the city comes to life.
Yeah, that was really cool, and it gave me a great visual.
Speaking of tiny details that were spectacular, was catching on to the fact that they were calling the period of darkness the day. and how that made such perfect sense, and like that I would never have thought of that, and then that you like had that as part of it and didn't explain it.
In reality, what I'm referring to is not the period of darkness as day, because it is still night. Night and morning are the period of darkness versus light. The day is the whole thing.
I gotcha. Okay, the whole diurnal period.
Right. If the sun is up, it is morning. It doesn't matter if it's 5 p.m.
Okay. Yeah. Having literally created a time system that works on the surface of a photon, I love that sort of detail.
And it's basically based on the fact that I decided that vampires are bioluminescent.
That's fucking cool.
Which I love that. It's like you see them glowing and you see the pointed ears, and it's like, is Carmine glowing? Yes.
Fuck.
Because I love those questions, because like it's a very easy yes or no question. Yes or no? Yes.
Yes.
Or even better yet, no. Is my favorite response for things like no. Why? The illicit tadpole. No, I'm joking. That's a different game.
He bites into the blood orange and drinks it. Is he glowing now? Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
That's his power source. His battery was too drained. He was barely glowing, but you couldn't tell because everybody else was glowing. He drinks it and he starts glowing more and more and more. He powers
and it's very
back
much
up.
Supposed to be this idea that how do you allow for a city of people, an entire culture basically of people, to operate in a time of day when there is no light? You could give them all lanterns.
Make them the light.
Yeah,
you could give them all lanterns. It's fine.
It's fake. Yeah, right.
You could give them lights. You can give them lanterns and make the city start glowing at night. And you can say, oh, they all have dark vision, so it doesn't matter. But the added layer that, like, creatures that are in the deep, dark depths of the ocean, where there is no light, have a bioluminescence to them that allows them to help communicate with one another. This idea that everyone glows ever so slightly. And when you get masses of these people together, it creates light pollution, and now everything looks not daytime, but just bright enough that you can see what's going on.
Yeah, like Vegas.
You know what I imagine?
Like Atlantic City.
I was gonna say I more imagine a clear night with a full moon.
Yeah.
Where you can't see for miles, but you can see like a long distance, and you can make out houses and trees and all the stuff that just bathed in the moonlight. Or like even better is like a clear sky and a full moon when there's snow on the ground. It is practically daylight at that point.
Yeah.
And I was very tempted to have it where everybody that was glowing was like flashing slightly. It was a pulsating glow. And I was going to pull... vampires are actually fireflies. If Carmine concentrates really hard, he can make his ass glow a little bit brighter.
Every time Rose slaps him on the ass, it glows.
Jesus.
If you want to borrow this is a little tiny piece of lore that I now throw into pretty much any world. So you've got bioluminescence. It's life forms that have their own light source. I have what I call petroluminescence. So when you're in caves and tunnels, it is rock that literally glows. So it's veins of rock that glow, and I call them petroluminescent.
Technically, that's still bioluminescence.
Is rock alive?
It doesn't have to be alive. It is its interaction with the environments. Or if it is not, because there are certain rocks that have a glow to them, they have to interact with UV in order to happen. Yupperite is my favorite one. Yupperite glows orange under UV. You have some?
I bought it at a rock show. I really want to go and actually find it, like take a UV light out and find it on the shores of the Great Lakes, because that sounds dope as shit. But I've been obsessed with Yupperite. And when we had the Gem and Mineral show here a few weeks back, this guy had a little pile of Yupperlites with UV lights next to them. And I didn't buy the light because I felt like the light was a ripoff and I could get a better one for cheaper. But I did buy the best looking glowing Euperlite. And yeah, this honestly it looks like a piece of granite.
Yeah. And then you hit it with
it's
UV
the coloration,
and all
everything.
of a sudden.
Yeah.
And then little pockets of it are amber. So like I can kind of see where it would be, but like it looks like a rock you would pick up in a parking lot. Like it's just looks like granite. But yeah, you put a light on it and little pockets all over it. It's not solid, but little pockets all glow this amber yellow, and it's so cool.
I want a ring made out of Euperlite.
That would be really cool.
But unfortunately, it's too brittle to do that.
Well, now that we're talking about bioluminescence, if you had a bioluminescent tree, you could have the roots be bioluminescent underground, and it's effectively the same thing. The roots are just growing down through tunnels and caverns and whatnot.
And then you question, what are these veins that are glowing? What is the chemical composition of these veins that are glowing? Why are they? Let's see. Is it just because it has magic in it? Well, what's causing the magic to run through it? And it's still a form of bioluminescence. Because to a point, its geography is still a form of biology. Not directly, but it's science. It's science of Earth and life.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say in the reverse
biology. It's kind of hard to see.
Really
but I have a Wellow opal as well.
Nice.
I want a gemstone that is incredibly rare and incredibly expensive.
Correct.
I want a fire opal.
Oh God. Yes.
The only
opals are amazing.
The only rocks that I specifically bought were a dice set made out of fuchsite, which is a muscovite gem. But not to give anything away, but it is partially my last name. So I was like, I want a rock that is named after my family.
Using Cap, I got a question for you. Using a traditional like color wheel sort of thing, or a bare bones elementary school name for colors, what color is amber?
I think it's in the yellow family.
What color is topaz?
I don't know. What color is topaz? Is it also in the yellow family? I actually can't think of the topaz color off the top of my head.
Technically, yes. Ambers range from a yellow to an orange, and topazes range from a yellow to a brown. So it's really one of those questions of, where do these two colors fall under? I always imagine amber as more of an orange.
I think of amber as honey.
I knew them in high school.
The color of honey in a bottle.
Amber and honey were these twins I went to high school with. No, I'm just kidding.
I wish.
but like I actually have some amber. I have a necklace that is made out of amber from Russia. I wish. No, it's actually got it has like flecks of red in it, which is really cool. But it's like a honey color. Like if you think of like a honey bear jar in a grocery store, it's like that color.
I want to. This is a complete side project. I want to take a walking cane, like one of those ones with a ball on the top. Take off the ball on the top and use it as a base for clay molding to create a holder to hold a chonk D20. And then I want to make a chonk D20 that is translucent orange with a giant mosquito in it.
That is amazing.
Let's fucking
so I can gift a D20 Jurassic Park staff to a friend of mine.
That would be really cool.
But I want it to be where the clay is just malleable enough that the D20 clicks into it basically and sits there and then can be removed again. So you can still play with it.
Right. Yeah. That's cool. Fantastic.
Yeah. All right, just awesome. Be aware that the way I perceive amber and topaz, amber is orange and topaz is yellow.
Okay. Well, I mean, orange is half yellow anyways.
Yeah, but I think of topaz as being like more of like a brighter yellow.
Fair. I mean, we didn't actually have the name orange for a color until more recently.
Yeah, it came from the fruit, right?
Yeah,
yes.
Let me look it up so I just make sure I'm like.
It was the fruit first. The fruit came before the orange, then the color name. In fact, the fruit orange was referred to as a yellowish red.
Mm-hmm. So you know what's fun is there is. Go ahead.
I'm looking at a piece of topaz right now, and they do vary for sure. The main color variation that I see, though, it reminds me of lava, because the way that the light catches it, it's like cooling lava.
That's a very orange topaz.
Like there's a whole bunch of them that I'm looking at that are like they're like that color of like when lava is like not at its hottest, when it's starting to cool. Just before it gets
topaz, and it's very yellow.
Intriguing.
Yeah. I definitely would not say that this is the same color as amber.
No. In fact, let me see if I can grab one of the pictures I use as reference.
Invincible levels of violence. I mean, we gotta. I have started putting together a little bit of just my own personal RPG schedule in terms of games that are being played but not streamed, games that are being streamed, stuff getting put on YouTube, stuff that needs to be written, stuff that needs to be edited. We basically just got to schedule it.
Yeah. Oh well, no surprise. The topaz is topaz a beryl or a corundum? I bet it is. Topaz can come in any color.
Yeah, I mean, I'm used to blue topaz, personally. But there are, different yellow topaz and blue topaz are like the two that I mainly think of when I think of topaz.
Because oh wow, this is a list I'm looking at, and these are all topaz, and the one that's the second in, second down is the color I usually go with, and of course the light's not really doing it justice. So
are those natural topaz, or are they lab grown?
That does help. I don't know.
Because I think lab grown is when you get the different colors.
It probably,
but I could be completely wrong.
Which is why I'm like, it might be a corundum. Because corundum is what rubies and sapphires are.
And they do come in dark
if
colors.
you look up the actual crystal, it looks like green, orange, and blue and white, or like clear, are the main ones that you find. Because I just looked up crystals, and most of them are either clear or that like peachy orange.
Because what I did is I look up like a yellow gemstone or an orange gemstone, and I have to pick from there.
I know what it reminds me of. It reminds me of resin.
Yeah. And it was a matter of I went with amber and topaz and realized they're very similar in their spectrum of colors, but I really need to go with I need to go with gemstones for a project that people know the name of at the very least. When you hear amber, you know what an amber is, at least in theory. You know what a topaz is in theory. You know it's a gemstone. If you hear tanzanite, you're pretty sure it's a gemstone, but you're not certain positively. Maybe it's a thermite sort of thing. It could be a drug from the drugstore.
I also just realized that amber, the mother of amber and honey, is crystal.
What? Cousin to candy?
God, I forgot how beautiful tanzanite is.
Oh yeah.
Like it is rich. It's the purple blue tone that I love.
It's very indigo, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yes.
But that being said, we should probably wrap this stream up. We've been going for a little while.
What?
2.5 hours seems good.
Yeah, it's true. It's a feature-length movie. It's a very short Lord of the Rings movie.
Yeah, very short Lord of the Rings movie. Yeah. If you guys are interested in I know you've got plans, so would not be able to. For a new more proper campaign DM'd by me. That's something I would love to discuss. It's the universe I have is a Spelljammer campaign across multiple different planets. It's kind of this idea of planescape plane jumper campaign, but instead of jumping from plane to plane, you're just going from a planet to another planet. And people are able to do it constantly. And I have little blurbs for every single planet.
Nice. That's cool. Yeah, we can definitely hash that out. See what
I'd very much enjoy that. If anybody's interested.
Yeah.
For that. Otherwise, I am hopeful that you guys will enjoy the next session of Grimm's Gathering. Hopefully, our surprise guest will be interested. A surprise guest. Who could it be? Their chaos. Honestly, I am so curious on what the chaos is going to be. I worry that Jinma's not going to be able to talk much because Jinma only seems to really be present when it's a serious moment. And by adding this mystery guest, we are adding a third Chaos Gremlin. And yes, Em, I'm not really counting you as a Chaos Gremlin.
I'm offended. Guess Granny has to get her game on. Fuck.
Well, the thing is, you're very inquisitive about the world. Granny hasn't really done anything chaotic yet.
I'm inquisitive about the world because nobody else is asking questions.
And I appreciate that.
I love that Rose and Philip are the parents of the group.
Carmine's over here pissing on trees, and Chet's licking his privates.
He's not licking his own privates. Gotcha.
His entire military group.
That's right. Every one of them.
It's a major problem.
Major one. Correct.
See, you just gotta talk to Jinma and be like, engage more. And he usually will be like, oh, okay. Sometimes I think he just gets caught up in the story and then is like, oh yeah, I'm here too.
I feel like the chaos is the stuff that happens between the story for him. Because he's very much, about the story. So when we go off on these chaotic, fucking 15-minute tangents, he's like, all right, let me know when the story starts up again.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, though, he throws his own thing in there.
And I'll stab it.
No, what was the thing that he said the other day? Oh, yeah, I think I like the pain or something like that.
Oh, and that's why it's so much funnier when he does it because it's so unexpected. And there's no prelude to it. He's like, I think I like pain. Left field. Yeah.
Left field, just daddy voice.
I did want to bring up my favorite points from the first two sessions from you guys. That was just pure chaos brought in by you guys. Session 1, the stumbling, the investigations that went into the time doohickey, the wibbly wobbly. I'm going to refer to it as the wibbly wobbly from now on. The investigations to the wibbly wobbly was a lot of fun, especially when Carmine decides to just put his hand through and is like, I don't like that feeling of arthritis just growing into your hand.
Yeah. It hurt. Worth it. It hurt. I think I like the pain.
That the chaotic quotes that I can't wait for us to have a whole list of, especially just do you speak common? Great. I understand that that's not a reference for this campaign. It's an older reference, but I love it anyways.
It's an older one, but it checks out.
I want everyone to write down their favorite quotes they hear. So if there's something fucking hilarious that somebody says, but we're in the middle of something, I want everybody to just go into that group chat and just like type it in and put like which character said it. That way it's not just the things that I found funny or the things that you found funny, but we have everybody's like
definitely
senses of humor. That's what I was looking for.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah, and designate if it was the player that said it or if it was the character that said it.
Mm-hmm.
Fair.
So that is my ask to you guys, and I'll try to say it again, to just like grab it and put it down, or like mark where it was, like the scene where we talk about the zoot suit. Like, just write zoot suit scene or something, so that we know where to find it in the whole thing.
Yeah,
definitely, and that was probably one of my favorite.
That would be really funny.
The fucking zoot suit, amazing. Yeah,
and underneath that is a little box of chocolates. And what's in that? Wouldn't you like to know?
That one I literally had to edit because it was like 2 minutes long, so I had to download the video and actually clip it up in the editor and upload it to YouTube as its own. Like, I couldn't transfer it over.
Fair.
Amazing.
As far as session 2 goes, my favorite moment is the best moment, in my opinion, and it was the candy. It was specifically the losing your ring because Chet stole it.
Yeah.
And trusting Chet enough to believe that he actually got it back from the kids.
He saved it for me. He got my jewelry back.
You had no reason to distrust him.
That's right. Was that a special? I don't think that's a special ring, right? It just was a piece of jewelry that was fun to have for them. Okay.
Popo created the ring. Because he was talking about how as all the candy's gone, you notice that, and you're missing a ring too, as Chet's just like looking at it,
right?
Like looking for value.
I need you to know, this is the character I imagine when I hear of Popo's character.
That's about right.
From the Suicide Squad.
Yeah, that's about
everything he's described about his character. I'm like, oh, he's just Weasel. Okay, got it.
Amazing.
But I love the campaign so far. I like the amount of chaos because it is off-putting the grim dark I'm putting into the best can. That creepy anorexic dwarven village, just looking for food in general. This disembodied voice that's somehow manipulating things behind the scenes. This time does not function correctly. The reality of the world seems to warp based on where you're standing. Bullets that are the boars of this world for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
And now a city that glows at night because it's filled with vampires.
I feel right at home.
Yeah.
And who knows what'll come next.
I need to like remind myself, I can be creepy. I can be intense and weird with this character. Because I'm so used to like not playing that kind of character.
Yeah.
That I have to remember, oh yeah, when we kill things, Grandma has to cut their heart out.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's why I leaned into that in the first one after we killed the bullets and we had decapitated one of them. So there's like, obviously there's blood spurting. And I was like, no, y'all turn around. And Carmine is full blown feeding on a bullet right now.
Yeah.
Like he's
and I do want to add one more thing as a sort of pseudo context to a scene that you're probably not going to get the full context for later anyways, unless I think about it. But another part of this world that does not seem right is areas where magic is so strong, the memories of a child can gain life of their own. And that's as much as you're going to know about that.
I'm putting stuff together. Don't you worry.
Know about what?
See, this is one of the things me and Meg have talked about this. When you've got players who also DM sometimes, like I know when I'm playing, and we've talked about it, how I've got DM brain happening while player brain is happening because we're playing, and I'm thinking, what is the DM trying to get us to, or like what does the DM have planned? Because I, as a player, am like, I want to do that because that's what the DM has prepped. And like that's the thing that's going to have the most detail. And also, I don't want to stress the DM and be like, "Hey, that thing you prepped, yeah, we're going to go do something else." So like when you're putting little details, my DM brain is like, file that away for later. That too. Oh, now I've got a stack of things, and that's an interesting stack right there.
That's the reason you're the note taker.
It's true.
Speaking of which, have you taken any notes yet?
Yes. Very, very spotty notes. I know what we got from the boulettes. I know we still have 2 pounds of boulette meat. We've got at least 1 or 2, I think 2 plates, 1 or 2 tusks, and there's like one other. It's very shoddy notes on this one. Which is
I was
funny
wondering
because
if
I
you'd
don't
be
worry
nice
about
enough to
taking
share
notes
those
because I'm
notes
just
with
like,
me.
Cap.
yeah.
If I do run a consistent game campaign and you're part of a Cap, please be the note taker. I am very bad about remembering what happened in my campaigns, like my proper campaigns, a month later, because I play so sandbox that I'm always on the fly. I don't remember what I've already said, so I don't know what you've already got.
Right. And that's partially why I record. And like, I have so many of our one shots that I put on YouTube that are just unlisted because I essentially use the YouTube account as my server.
Notebook.
There we go. Server. Yeah. Yeah. So like if I'm like, okay, this thing happened here, I just got to go search through where the thing is. Essentially the videos are my notes, but it's like going through an old physical card catalog. I'm like, okay, I have to go through. Okay, yeah, we're getting toward the scene. Okay, yes. Okay, there's the dialogue.
Right, and that's another reason why I want to turn my home campaign, into a proper streamed one, is so if I do forget something, I can go back to that session in the stream catalog and be like, okay, what did I actually say?
Yeah. Yep. It's very good.
And to bring us back full circle, I still appreciate the fact that you brought out a line at the beginning of the stream that Cap said and didn't remember.
Yeah.
I very much appreciate that.
I'm gonna find it in the chat, and I'm going to reply to it and tag you. Be like, right here. This is when you said it.
Pin it. Yeah.
Oh no, it was in the respite.
Well, and I know a couple people had some really fun and interesting ones too.
Oh yeah, we were having a full conversation about it. Like that was the conversation. I had my own version.
Yeah. And see, I have the intro written, and like I'm going to use the intro for the solo RPG. My brain is still trying to tweak it because I'm not fully committed to like the rhythm of the opening line.
Because you were asking what sounded best for the versus plane where magic meets mayhem, or magic and mayhem merge, and then Alex came back with where thaumaturgical mishaps abound, pandemonium reigns supreme, and the inexorable chaos of existence refuses to be outwitted. And I said it sounded like you.
Yeah.
Cool. And then we each started like going off with our own things, and I think I did one of my own. Greetings and salutations to the ever-expanding Versoplane, an encompassing domain of fantastical ledger domain, muddling mobocracy. Even on this evening, enthusiastic indulgence, we shall just try to make fun of you.
Yeah. Well, and one of them that had like 6 or 8 M words in it, was actually the opening I used for the first Common Misconceptions game. So that one is on YouTube.
Oh yeah, that was from you. Welcome to the Versoplane, home to all manner of magical mayhem, mystical mishaps, and monstrous melodies.
Yep, that was the one I used in the first session of Common Misconceptions.
Oh,
and it's really fun when he writes them and doesn't read them until he's live.
I apologize. You did not come up with the Arcane collides with Anarchy and Pandemonium prevails. That was Alex. And I thought that one was the nicest, so I saved it.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. That's why I didn't remember. Yeah. Gotta give Alex credit. That one's fantastic.
I want to make sure. Yeah, it's right there in the respite.
M knows all about
epicenter of arcane upheavals, esoteric blunders, and pernicious enchantments aplenty.
Yeah, me and M have talked about the times where I write a script and then only realize how ungainly it is when I start to record it. And I'm trying to form the words, and I'm like, oh, the human mouth isn't made to do that.
Greetings, noble maidens, valorous dudes, and chaotic non-binary entities. Prepare thyselves, for the dice are hot and the dungeons are dubious.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's another Alex quote for you.
I think I might, instead of having every opening be the same, the consistency will be the inconsistency. Every opening will have a different, massively overwritten intro.
Oh yeah.
That you can't read aloud.
Where magic
until
is mayhemnical.
Mayhemnical magic.
Oh,
yeah.
What was it? 106 word sentence that you had in one of your last videos?
At least. The final
He's
sentence
like, there's a semicolon in there. I'm like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I'm definitely forwarding some of these into the chat here.
Mm-hmm.
As a please use these as reference.
Yeah. Oh yeah, when me and Em was going to say, when we write in our Google Docs, I will write sentences that are an entire paragraph, and half of her writing is going back through my sentences and splitting them up into manageable sizes. Yeah.
Into things I can breathe while reading them.
Yeah.
And the worst part is, you're probably not you're not making it a run-on sentence. It's just the sentence won't shut up.
Correct.
Yeah, no, they're amazing sentences, but it's like, and when I say breathe, it's the natural rhythm that you read in. And like when I read, sometimes I feel like I'm holding my breath until the end of the paragraph, and then I'm like,
you can actually catch it in some of my videos, because when I'll read a script that I've written and not test it out in advance, I'll take, it'll take 12 or 15 takes sometimes, because I'll realize halfway through a sentence or near the end of a sentence, I've run out of breath. And so when I do the next take, I'm like, when I begin this sentence, I have to take a deep breath, because this sentence is a little longer. And so some of my videos, you'll actually catch, you're like, that was a very deep breath. So there is a long sentence on the way.
That was a deep breath. Oh no.
Here we go.
Yes.
That was a deep
breath.
Yeah, that was a deep breath at the beginning of the video. This is going to be one sentence long.
And now for my favorite intro I would like to use at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Sup peeps, we playing D&D.
I love it. Some peeps are playing D&D. Roll initiative.
Having all these lines, these big lines of "Welcome to the Versal Plane," blah 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 blah, and then one session, "Sup peeps, we playing D&D."
Yeah. I need to do a V for Vendetta speech, but with D words, and it'll be like D for Dendetta. I'm gonna do it.
D for D's nuts. Anyway, that should be the end of our session.
R for revenge. And just do a full thesaurus of the original.
Yeah. I actually found, you can find online, somebody did essentially a translation of that V for Vendetta speech. They're like, what does this sound like in like normal language?
It was lovely talking to all you wonderful people. We'll keep talking for 3 more hours if we don't stop now.
We will, absolutely.
I mean, we'll just stop recording.
Yeah. Correct. That's the
I'll go to bed when I die.
Right. Oh, that was a joke.
Oh my gosh.
All right.
Uh-huh.
Well, the plan is to play next Wednesday then, right?
Yes.
So session 3 will be next Wednesday. Let me look at the calendar.
Our special guests should have their character all ready to go, hopefully.
That's the plan.
I am not ready for the chaos that we are about to create in the studio next week.
Ready. I am ready to laugh so hard I can't breathe.
Correct.
Yeah.
Now
sounds about right.
Now I get to there's two sessions.
You do, Knight.
There's 2 sessions. It's roughly 6-ish hours. I think the first session was like 4 hours. And the second one was a little over 2.
Yeah.
People don't know about this yet, and they may never get to see it depending on what the consensus is. But we have our Sunday game, do we not? Our Saturday or Sunday game? Yeah, this weekend?
Maybe. It depends on Morgan. Long story short, I'm putting together isn't that what we're talking about?
It's what we're talking about now. I was talking about Tyrion, Meg's game. The one that is not streamed but is recorded and might potentially someday be released, but that'll depend on the consensus of the players. No, you talk about your game.
Yeah, I potentially will have a game that I am running. The first session will not be streamed. It will be recorded, and if Morgan feels like he would like it to be uploaded, then we will upload it. But I am running it as a catharsis game for him, so I don't want him to worry about having to hold back things that he says or does with, you know, the idea of like the general public's gonna see it. Not that he's gonna say anything totally crazy, but like people take shit out of context and he deals with pseudoscience assholes all the time. So I just don't want him to be put in a weird situation. So we're going to play a catharsis game for him. And the ending of that game could potentially lead into a adventure series that I will be DMing. And so, yeah, just kind of keep your ears open for that. Might happen in the next couple months. But it depends on his schedule. So, yes.
Awesome sauce. Now you'll get to see our new thanks for watching screen.
Oh, real quick, for those of you who use the tiki-talkies, Sunday is the deadline. So depending on whether or not depending on whether or not TikTok gets bought or whatever the fuck happens, if you have shit you want saved, get it done before Sunday. Yeah, Round 2, fight.
I kind of gave up on TikTok at this point, anyways.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Well, there's some videos that like aren't mine that are other people's that I want to download so that I can keep them forever because they're special in my heart.
Fair.
Yeah. All right. Well, see you next Tuesday. Not really. See you next Wednesday. See you next Wednesday. That's right. Bye.
See.